driver this purple guy is, eh?
Greetings, sentient beings. This broadcast is not intended for children. There will be strong language and adult themes and sexual subject matters.
Sex? We gotta talk about sex?
Well, sex and gender.
Oh, I would love to.
Hey, baby, what you got?
I'd love 6 if I could get them, but I'll settle for 2.
So when I was about 19, I met this lovely young woman named Janet. What is this stream about again? I'm kidding.
Damn it.
Mostly it was just there wasn't going to be movie night tonight, so Jenny suggested that we could, do a trans stream.
And I'm, the token cis chick ally.
Allies are very important, though.
And we're trying to recruit well.
Yeah, I was trying to find some other trans people, but I wasn't getting responses from anyone today. So
the funny thing is, the Janet story is from 23 years ago, and it's a real story.
Well, tell us.
Well, go ahead.
So I was a college dropout. Shocker, surprise and shocker. I moved back to Los Angeles, and I have to say hi real quick. And I was kind of down and out, and I lived with an ex-girlfriend of mine, and things just didn't work out, and I found myself being utterly and completely homeless. I had a car, I had a job, so I eventually got myself together. But there is a real thing called habitually homeless, but that's a different story for a different day. But I went to this drop-in center in Hollywood, good old Hollywood, California, and I started meeting people from around the area. And they helped me out, and I met this young woman named Janet, who was trans, and we went out for almost 2 years. She was awesome. We're still friends. She kind of lost her mind. She jumped ship, and she was a Trump supporter, but we're still friends. But people they go where the money is. They go, she moved to New York, and she's not, she's on the Republican side as far as money goes. There's a video on YouTube of 2 men from San Francisco walk up to her, and they're like, "Are you insane?" Because she's in front of Trump Tower. They're like, "Do you realize where you are?" But what I'm saying is, it was just a normal relationship. It was 2 people who got together, had a great time, and we're still friends. I think the one thing we do is overstate ourselves, and who we are. Yep. She just happened to be trans, but I was attracted to her regardless,
Well, that's why.
Sorry.
That's why I identify as pansexual rather than bisexual, because I'm just acknowledging there really are more than 2 genders, and I'd be open to a relationship with someone of any gender. No gender marker or anything is going to be a deal breaker for me.
A long time ago, someone told me you fall in love with people.
Yeah. Well, and I will have different types of relationships with different people, but, I'm not going to rule out the possibility of any relationship.
See, I want to go to that end of the conversation. What types of relationships are you talking about? Because mine was all lovey-dovey, like holding hands. Like, we had a great time, and we still call each other and laugh at each other once a year.
Yeah. Well, and I've had some that are, all lovey and cuddly, and I've had some that were, strictly just getting together for sex, and both of us knowing that nothing more was ever going to come from that.
Awesome.
And it's like, yeah, I can enjoy each of those. Ox was asking about the picture I picked for the thumbnail, which, I did just find that online. But actually, the heart, if you look close, is 2 hands shaking hands. And the fingers of the hands are the colors of the trans flag. So I just thought it was a cool image.
I saw that. That's actually some patches I should be ordering.
Yeah, the trans and non-binary flag. Tria got it.
The crazy thing about where I live is that I could drive. You know, I should do that tomorrow since Isaiah's here. I could go to Hollywood. I should go get some.
Yeah, but actually the longest relationship I ever had, which ran for 12 years, started, and this was pre-internet days, but was a woman who was running one of the local BBSs. So I was just on her board and talking with her, and well, actually the first time was that, she had a problem with her bathroom sink, and since that's the kind of stuff I do, I said I'd go over there and fix it for her. And pretty much, didn't have any money, so I fixed the sink. We had sex. She started calling me up for having sex, and yeah, that wound up being a 12-year relationship.
And like every maintenance person's dream. Every pizza delivery, UPS.
Yeah, it's such a common.
I had a 12-year relationship. Of course, it was with a dog, but
Oh, well, we have some new people in here tonight.
Who do we got?
Well, we started out with Tria and B and Ox here, and now we have Overprotected Atheist.
Yay!
Doc Fearsome, of course, is usually here, and Irish Swede and Animal Science.
Hi, Irish.
And Nerdy Rodents is in here.
I always feel like I have.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Kitty.
No, I was gonna say I shilled your stream on B's stream as I was leaving. I was like, oh crap, at the end, because it was like, oh no, the stream's gonna be starting any second. Like Irish Swede was the one that actually was like, yeah, it's 10:30 Central now. I'm like, oh shit. And so I showed that your stream was happening on B's stream, and Irish Swede was in the stream, and Overprotected was in the side chat of the stream.
Awesome.
So yay, I brought over some viewers. That makes me happy.
Awesome.
Yeah, Irish Swede was asking what year that was with the BBS, and I think that was like 1992 or 1994, something like that. So some people had internet, but it wasn't something everyone had in their home at that point.
Yeah, that's pretty much the end of the BBS time.
Yeah.
I did, but it was like I was still. Oh, I'm going to show my age. There were still party lines back then, so you'd get a phone number and they'd be like, "All right, the party's over here." Those were good times.
Yeah,
because they were actually go somewhere and show up, and there'd be like 600 or 700 people at a party.
How many 900 numbers did you call?
My parents believed in retribution. I was scared of my parents. There's no way. There was like, no.
Yeah. By the time the 900 numbers came out, I was paying my own phone bill. So, paying by the minute for anything I could see was already going to be a problem.
Yeah, I'll tell you why. Like, I saw how much trouble my sister got just for calling people out of town. So, and my dad was a big, black, scary man. So I didn't want to cross him.
Yeah, a friend of mine ran into a problem with that his roommate ran up like an $800 phone bill on those 900 numbers just before he left town.
But you just reminded me of a story. My mom actually told a story at one of my dad's receptions. It was like 96 or 97. We're sitting at the dinner table, and my mom runs up to my dad and I, and she's like, "All right, which one of you mother effers watched porn in South Africa?" We got charged $400 because I literally typed in boobs, went online, went on some random site, was on there for, I don't know, like 20, 30 minutes and got charged an outrageous amount of money.
Wow.
Because it was, back then you got charged per minute and it was overseas and,
Yeah. Well, and that was a common scam that they would set up in other countries that they could charge outrageous fees for, but it didn't tell you that when you logged in.
Oh, it worked. And like my pops said it was him. My mom knew that my dad was lying. They knew it was me, but my pops took the hit.
I used to play an online game. It was very early online game, Falcon F-15 something, I don't know. But it was a flight simulator shoot 'em up, and you could play against one other person, but you had to call them by phone, and phone lines weren't all that good then, especially long distance, and it would cost $10 an hour to play that game.
Yeah, it was unreal back in the day. It was unreal.
Yeah, well, that was also, I was very broke then. Not that I've got any money now, but, very struggling times. So that's when I started taking on raising other people's kids because I was broke. Right? That made perfect sense.
You know what? In a weird way, it does.
Well, and actually, this was a common thing that happened to me. Started a lot of relationships. Was that their kids would get attached to me, so then they figure they need to keep me around.
I learned a harsh lesson with my ex. I had an ex-girlfriend who was Norwegian, and my son was extremely attached to her. But her and I, we broke up, and I promised myself, like, I will not do that to my son until he's older. Now he's old enough where I can tell him the truth.
Well, I mean, I know part of it's that in the stores I would hang around in the toy departments because, I was looking at Lego and Transformer and stuff. But, if anytime I was in a store, if a kid got away from their mother, they'd come up and start talking to me. It's like, I never invited this, but it just always happened. And I was pretty scared because, that's like, looking like a cis white male, I was sure this was, and a couple of times, I had the mothers come find the kid and start yelling at me. And it's like, look, I'm trying to keep my distance here. I had no idea where you were. It's your fault that you weren't keeping track of your kid.
I've loudly said, like, whose child is this? I'll get Karen real quick. I'll draw attention to myself, like, excuse me, somebody is slipping, your child is wandering. But I'm overprotective because my son has ASD, so I have that eye, like, you're unattended, kid.
Well, I think the autism might kind of contribute to that too. And one of the things that, one of the women I dated pointed out was that, even like when I was talking to kids, I didn't talk to them like an adult normally talks to a kid, which is just like looking down at them. That I would always like go down to one knee and talk to them at their level.
Yeah. People think I'm younger than what I am, so I get strange questions and walked up on all the time. Not by kids, by weird ass adults.
Yeah. But actually, related to the topic, I do have a big announcement because I have in my hands right now estrogen patches.
Yay!
I got my prescription, so I'm going to be starting this tonight.
Do I have to switch?
Yep. As soon as I take a shower, I'm going to be starting my hormone therapy.
What dosage? What patch, I should say?
Let's see. The label is covering up the brand name. Mylan.
No, I don't care about brand name.
Yep.
How
I
many?
do. I'm about to Google the hell out of that right now.
Yeah, it just says estradiol 0.1 milligram patch twice a week.
Okay, point ones. All right.
Awesome. That's a positive thing in the right direction. That's
Yeah, well,
amazing.
and the doctor said this is the minimum dosage, that they start everybody on the minimum. And after a month, we'll check the blood levels and see how it's leveling out. And that most people after a month, they usually go to doing 2 patches.
What you got to be aware of is those things will not tolerate getting wet. They will fall off.
I asked the doctor about that, and he said it was okay to shower with them on. That shouldn't be a problem.
He's obviously never actually had one on him.
Okay. One thing I would recommend, if you go down to like CVS or Walgreens or Rite Aid, they have these things called Tegaderm, and they are like, it's basically like when they give you an IV, that clear plastic bandage that they put over it.
Yeah.
When I was on fentanyl patches, I had a problem with them wanting to fall off very easily. So I would go and buy the Tegaderm patches and put them over it, and then that would keep it on there for, the full week with no problem. Or, well, 3 days. Like the fentanyl patches were every 3 days. And I had no problem with it staying on by putting the Tegaderm on there. And you can shower with Tegaderm, and, if it does like have falling off problems, then I would recommend picking up. They're not cheap, but they will keep the patch in place without awkward tape or, because medical tape is not that great on your skin. The Tegaderm work really, really well. Just something to keep in mind.
This is a 3M product, a tape that's used very much in orthopedics.
Yeah, Tegaderm's made by 3M as well.
And this shit, you can see what it takes to peel it.
Yep.
Is perforated, so you can tear off a section.
Yep.
Which conveniently is about the exact same width as a patch. And you put that sucker on there.
Yeah, I've got that stuff in my first aid kit already.
This will stay on a week or more.
If you want, for the third solution, I would get the oversized giant Johnson & Johnson Band-Aids, because I was addicted to the patch for a while when I lived in Oregon. And I would put my patch on and put a giant Band-Aid over it. And that thing would stick on all day long.
Yeah, this is a new thing for me that I've never had anything that I've had through a patch before. So,
well,
I've been on several different patch medications, and I've found like medical tape can make my skin break out in a rash. So Tegaderm, like I said, it's the same thing they use over IVs in the hospital. And it does not give me that issue. So try the tape first, obviously.
Are you sensitive to latex?
No, I'm not sensitive to latex.
Oh, okay, because a lot of people who are sensitive to latex have a reaction like that to the adhesive in most medical tapes.
Boy, if you're allergic to latex, you'd have to get rid of all those suits that you have.
Right? Like, that would be horrible. But no, I don't have a latex allergy, but I do end up having a reaction to the adhesives in medical tape. So, in fact, I was on a blood pressure medication, and it was a patch. It was a clonidine patch. And like, I had such a bad reaction to the adhesive in that patch that my leg looked like a leopard, because I would get a red welt in like a little rectangle, the exact size of the patch, and I'd have to keep moving it around because I was told to put it on my leg as opposed to my arm, because yes, my blood pressure was high, but it was also like my condition can have a beneficial effect from that medication being on the affected area. But I literally had a leopard leg of welts in varying stages of healing because of the adhesive in the patches. That was fun.
Yikes.
Yeah, I was asking about that too, as far as which place was best to apply it. And the doctor was saying for most people, just over the abdomen, but basically just to read the instructions from the manufacturer and see what they said.
I did mine right here on the abdomen. Then I found that the pants top or something would get in the way and help scrape it off and that kind of stuff.
That's a good point. You don't want it where the waistband might be rubbing.
Mm-hmm.
I know for me, my patch medication that I'm on now, it goes on my upper arm, but also there's like the upper back. Like I could basically put this patch either on my upper arm or my upper back, but I'd rather be able to see it and check on it, make sure it hasn't like fallen off or anything like that. Because once it's on, I don't even notice it. And if I had it back here, I wouldn't necessarily be able to see it. Plus, it would cover up my feet too, and that would make me sad.
Did your insurance cover it?
Yeah.
No, perp.
Yeah.
Oh.
Apparently the insurance seems to be it would cover everything except for hair removal. That seems to be the one thing I'll have to come up with money for on my own. Because I think I'm definitely going to need something like laser hair removal to get rid of the facial hair.
Oh yeah, everybody does. There's no doubt about that. It doesn't go away.
I'm not a doctor, but isn't what you're taking going to clear up your skin? Or is that not for everybody?
No, that is a common effect of it. Not for everyone. And even for the facial hair, that it should slow down the hair growth.
Yeah.
And make it at least less coarse.
That's what I was thinking. Because there's someone I follow on YouTube, and their entire demeanor changed after she started taking it. So she looks like a completely I don't know. It's one of those things. Everybody's different. Everybody reacts different.
And that's kind of a problem in the trans community. There's very few people who are trans who are doctors and nurses or pharmacists or things like this, and there's just a huge volume of anecdotal mythology, as I like to think of it as, where people think that they have an experience or they believe that they've had an experience, and so that's the way it is, and everybody else thinks, oh, okay, yeah, I'm going to experience that too, and it's like, well,
no way.
Yeah,
every single person's different.
I have seen a lot of that people don't get the your mileage may vary thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's with all medicine, though.
Well, I learned that big time, going through the psychiatric meds, because they were trying to find anything, I mean, I went through literally decades of them diagnosing me wrong. So, like the entire family of SSRIs, and it's like, yeah, none of that helped, and the side effects were not fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm over here fucking playing Tetris.
Hey, Nikki.
Trying to get all these to fit.
Got another new person. I've seen Nikki on Twitter, but have not seen him coming to the stream before.
She was on with us last weekend, I believe.
Yeah, she could jump in here and give her the stream yards.
Okay. Well, Nikki, if you want to come in, if you leave me your Twitter ID, I can send you a link.
I did promise an argument about Star Trek. I was being facetious because I'm familiar with most 90s sci-fi in general. So I think Stargate is the greatest show of all time.
Oh, good night, Swede.
Good night, Swede.
But
no, I agree. I think Stargate is the best science fiction universe. Just, as far as the writing not having as many holes. Not as many things I can pick on.
Yeah, and as someone who's watched the series over and over, they do not mess around with their callbacks. They hang a lantern right when they need to. It's just classic 90s television.
Yeah, the SSRIs, I know they help a lot of people. They help my brother, but, all depends on...
SSRIs make me crazy. Like, I went batshit fucking crazy when they put me on an SSRI. I lost my damn mind.
So,
well, a big part of mine is they, for some reason, did not figure out I was autistic until I was in my 40s, and basically tried diagnosing me with everything else they could imagine up to that point.
So is the SSRI a psychotropic drug?
No, they're
It's
selective serotonin uptake inhibitors.
Yeah.
Oh.
Neurotransmitters that live between the synapse and
but
message on from one cell to another.
Oh.
Basically, what I've come to after about 35 years of therapy and all the drug experimentation is that serotonins don't have anything to do with it for me, but everything seems to trace back to dopamines.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, anything that increases my dopamines helps, and nothing else is going to help.
And and for people who aren't aware, there are hundreds of neurotransmitters in your little electrical system. It's amazing how it fucking works. It's just The more you learn about it, the more amazing.
So I've joked about saying that I take chocolate medicinally, but there's actually something to that, and that's. When I was with my fiance, if my Tourette's was really flaring up, she would ask if I'd had any chocolate that day. Because apparently, that having some chocolate was helping to keep the tics down. Because again, chocolate causes your brain to produce more dopamines.
Mm-hmm.
There's a theobromide in chocolate. I believe it is what the active ingredient is.
Okay, I didn't know exactly what the chemical was.
I call the chemical fat and temptation.
It has a very strong placebo to it. That's for darn sure.
Right now, I have chocolate donuts on top of my fridge. I'm the worst shopper.
What kind of chocolate donuts? Like those Hostess little bitty things that you get in a
I'm bougie, so I get the big Hostess ones in the variety pack. Because it's in the morning when I'm running around, it's just I eat one of those and I call it breakfast. Because I'm moving around so much, the sugar gets me going. I don't smoke cigarettes anymore, so I needed another killer for breakfast.
Didn't we? No, I won't bring that up.
Yeah. Oops, sorry. Were you still reading that, Will?
So I'm not sure about this. Have you decided on a name yet?
Hello, Orge.
I haven't actually settled on one yet. Zamia is the one I'm most leaning toward, but I'm not totally stuck on it, so still kind of looking for ideas.
Nikki says that she's in the WTF.
Oh, hey, Maya.
Hey, Maya.
You have a gray nose, huh?
Okay, Nikki, I'm not sure which group that is, because actually I'm in a couple of groups with Jen.
It's the WTF.
Oh, okay. Jen's. Okay, yeah, I can go stick a link in there. Give me a second here.
Oh. And
I'm
to
not
answer,
sure if I'm in that group or not. Am I in that group?
Yeah, aren't you? Yeah.
Is it the Year of Living Moistly?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I've reduced myself.
It wasn't called the WTF. That's why I got confused.
Yep.
I'm a visual person. I'm calling it by the thumbnail.
I do get confused, and especially that one of the things about Twitter is anybody can change your group name. So, yeah, some of the groups I'm in, people start screwing around, and the name winds up changing every couple of hours.
Or minutes.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of fun to do.
Haha, my Tetris
Hard to
was
follow.
a success. I was
Oh,
able to
Ooh,
fit
and
everything.
to
There's
answer,
Nikki. Hello.
hey Nikki, and to
Okay, now I
answer,
recognize you.
to answer Sarah, yes, I would be goddess sewing. Yes, I would be, and I have a
You
relative.
would be. Hello. I am the Supreme Empress of Hell, and I am the Goddess of Darkness. Like,
Well, no,
and
Sarah.
sewing.
Sarah said, if godless sewing is in drag, is he goddess sewing?
I didn't see that.
No,
All right,
Queen,
I suppose you
Queen
could
of
have it as a stage name. I'll share my title with you.
I was about. How are you doing? So no lightning tonight, Nikki?
No, that will be probably a little bit later because yeah, we're getting another thunderstorm rolling through for the next couple days. Yeah.
That was pretty spectacular. We don't get too much of that anymore around here.
We didn't have any storm, but for some reason our power was out for a couple of hours this evening. I still don't know what happened. I was just in the middle of posting something and the computer shut down. I thought my computer had fried, and then I realized that no, everything was out.
I don't know how many times that's happened to me. It's like, oh shit, computer's out. No, everything else is off.
Somebody just hit a pole.
I do know I need to get an APC, which is a backup battery for a computer.
Okay, I was just
Stop a
about
lot
to
of money.
say, I have one on this computer and I have one on the other side. So when I lose power, I sit in this room and it takes a minute for everything to shut off because I have master backups for everything. But it gives me enough time to shut off my computer. So
That's-
Yeah, I
fry
need
light.
one of those.
Yup.
Like,
It's
I
huge.
really
It's like a
do.
you can actually no, it's buried by the books. But it saved me quite a few times. But around here, they'll give us fair warning, and I have a landline, so they'll call the house and say, "Hey, we're gonna shut the power off from this time to this time. We're working on blah blah
Yeah.
blah."
Well, I tend to, especially when it goes out during the day, figure that it's not intentional, that it was some kind of accidental thing.
A squirrel. Like, how many? No, multiple times. I have been at when I was working, like a squirrel would fucking get fried in a transformer and it would knock out power for
Same here.
the whole block.
Every time somebody mentions a squirrel and a transformer like that, it takes me back to this memory I have from our shop, where it was we had some big old American car in there, and it wouldn't start. We hadn't opened the hood yet; just got it in, and it would crank. It would crank real well. Lots of battery and all that stuff. But it was obviously just not firing up. It was a carbureted car, and it was a V8. So we opened the hood, and what do we find? Oh God! We find this squirrel literally wrapped around the distributor, chewing the primary wire from the coil.
It lived.
No, it did not live. It was fried and desiccated.
I was about to say, was it Kentucky Fried or what? Oh wow!
It was just absolute.
So it was not original
They had a
recipe. It
surprised
was
look on his
extra
face, too.
crispy.
Exactly.
So we fixed it with a set of plug wires, but that was 80,000 volts that went through that little bugger.
I mean, it would have been over quick. We could all hope to die so quick.
It happened. That's why the car got towed in, because the guy started his car and it wouldn't start. So he did it, not us.
I'm in this really awful group on Facebook. I haven't been on Facebook in a while, but they would show people in their last moments of their life. It was like one of those secret groups. A friend added me, and you'd be surprised how many people have touched the wrong wire while being recorded, and they're done. I mean, they're dead before they drop, you know. Or when people are stuck, they're literally stuck on the wire. It's wow.
Yeah, because you flinched, you seized.
Oh yeah, it's the worst.
Also, your skin can melt.
Yeah.
And fuse to the wire.
I always take it for granted that people know what they're doing. Like,
No, people are stupid.
if you saw one of these, would you know how to make a phone call?
Yes.
Yep.
Actually.
Yeah.
Of
Like
course,
I
you guys
actually had a
would.
rotary. I had a rotary phone in my bedroom when I was a kid. Like I had a rotary phone, and it was like styled after the old school where you would hold it and you would speak into the mouthpiece, and you had the little bell for the
Oh
ear.
my god.
I had
Original.
one of those when I was a fucking kid in my room.
I
was
could break
great.
into the junction box on the corner of your block and make the call there without one of those. Actually, no, you do need one of those. I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's
No, you need one of those because that's that taps the wire.
Yeah.
That's a direct tap on the wire. So I can walk up to any landline and listen to it without anyone knowing. But I need that for my job because we have a massive system and it constantly has to be tested. Because some are old, we have to find the old lines and get rid of them and replace them with new ones. It's a never-ending
story. You know what?
Yeah.
I fucking loved that movie. It was one of my favorites when I was a kid.
Same.
Mine was
Yeah, a
Flight
lot
of
of
the
people
Navigator.
loved it, and then they had to make a sequel.
I liked Flight of the
Seriously, the
Navigator.
sequel killed it for a lot of people.
I
They
agree.
made 2 sequels.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we don't even mention the third one. You know, it's kind of like the fourth Indiana Jones movie.
I liked that one. And I want to say before we jump off that subject, I loved Flight of the Navigator because I wanted to get away from my family.
I liked Flight of the
Dude, Flight of the
Navigator.
Navigator. That was another one of the films I would watch with my dad when I was a kid.
Great movie. Great movie.
Flight of the Navigator.
Yeah, it was a Disney film about a kid that was abducted by a UFO.
Oh, okay.
Oh, when I was a kid, I was like, take me. I don't like
what
any
was
of these
the other
people.
one with the video game?
Last
Last
Starfighter.
Starfighter.
Last Starfighter. Thank
Yep.
you.
And there was the other one where the kids built this ship. Oh, what was
Explorers.
it? I love that's another
Yeah.
one. That was another
Yeah,
one.
that in their dreams they were getting these plans beamed to them from an alien. So they built a spaceship out of a washing machine.
Exactly. I
That's some
love
fucking
that
Jimmy
movie.
Neutron shit right there.
I loved that effing movie when I was a kid.
Well, basically the explanation of it was that the circuit that the aliens were sending them created a force field around it. So it didn't really matter what the ship was. It was just the force field that was being drawn up to the ship in orbit.
Sounds like some fucking woo science.
Yeah, well, it was a Disney film.
Oh,
I don't
Disney films
Some
are
Deus Ex
super,
Machina
Yeah.
shit.
they're
Yeah.
super hand wavy. You know, they're all about the technobabble, just like
Well,
Star Trek.
I
just
mean,
like,
if they're aiming it at 10-year-old kids, they're not going to worry too much about explaining the hard science.
you know what? I know I've said this before. I had never seen the Black Hole with Ernest Borgnine. And Jen and I had a date night and we watched that movie. And the whole time she's like, this movie's awful. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is the greatest movie ever. I never.
can't stand it when people get their panties in a bunch just because of that can't really happen. That can't really happen. Who cares? It's a movie. Just shut
Exactly.
up. And say it.
No. That's my whole thing. That's why I stopped watching sports chat. I'm kind of mad at the Doctor Who fandom. I'm kind of mad at the Star Trek. I'm a hardcore Trekkie. People they lost it over Klingons and the fact that they changed the thing about Discovery. Life has changed. When they went to SGU with Stargate Universe, I was kind of like, oh, what is this at first? But I was like, hey, everything changes.
I made it to the first season.
I watched the
Season
person
2.
end a relationship because they were arguing over the com badge or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Star Trek.
Oh yeah.
It's apparently it was one way in some series and another way in another series, and
Okay,
they
now-
didn't think this was worth fighting about, and they ended the relationship.
I
over
can
it.
kind of be guilty of some of that. Not so much of saying that, that can't happen, because, I can do the suspension of disbelief if they, lay out the rules for the universe.
Right?
But then they've got to stick to those rules. If they don't maintain internal consistency, that will piss me off, and then I will pick it apart.
Look, any movie that has sound in space and wings on spacecraft, it's all bullshit. 100%. None of
Yeah.
it matters. Just enjoy it.
And
Well,
this
no.
is why I'm a big proponent for The Expanse and Babylon 5.
I still never saw Babylon 5. That's one I've kind of intended to go back to, but I've never gotten around to
As
it.
long as you can get over the absolute horrid in today's comparison of CGI, you'll be fine.
Zaha Doom is the greatest
Yeah.
episode of all time when he brings the ship down on his ex-wife. That is the greatest. I was screaming at that scene. I was like, do it.
And that's I don't have a problem as far as the special effects or the visuals. I can overlook all the technical stuff if it's well written.
It's extremely well
if
written.
it's well written and if it shows some good character development, I can
It does.
overlook just about everything else.
I
said-
will say this. NASA actually asked them for designs for one of the ships in that TV show.
Yeah, there is a channel I like to watch on YouTube called Space Doc. That
I
basically he just keeps analyzing all the ships from Sci-Fi, and he did say that the ones from Babylon 5 were the most realistic starfighters in any series.
I watched that.
So that word that you said a few minutes ago, Zaha Doom, that's from
That's the
Babylon
name.
5.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's
it's the name of the planet where the shadow. Oh, sorry.
No, just that was part of the password for my my ex-husband. So I heard it and it made me think of him. I didn't realize it was from Babylon 5.
Yeah, it's a planet basically where the evil entities live.
Oh, well,
No,
it was
to be
a
fair,
fitting
both of-
fucking thing for him to use as a password then, because he is an evil motherfucker.
And you're right, the Vorlons were just as evil.
If not worse.
If you play God, I'm gonna be mad at you. And I know you're playing God. I'm gonna say something. I'm not gonna be nice to you. So that's very true.
Is this an argument of you destroyed 100 planets, we only destroyed 90?
Pretty
Either way,
close.
Yeah. Imagine high. You know what? It's kind of like what Stephen Hawking said. Imagine higher beings fighting over your existence, or what they can do to you, basically.
Yeah.
Or basically, I don't want to get into it too deep because I want someone to get into the show and watch it from the first
Yeah,
episode.
I was going to say that could quickly break down into an argument on veganism.
Because I could give away the entire preface of the
All right,
series.
I will watch the whole series, Will.
Okay,
All right, here's another caveat to it. It is to the point where you need to watch it from beginning to end. You skip an
Right.
episode, you will get lost.
Yes.
yeah. Well, and that's why I heard, and that's why I didn't watch it originally, because with my schedule at the time, I knew I couldn't commit to seeing it every week.
But you can now because it's not streaming on Amazon anymore. They lost the temporary loss of the rights to it.
Wow.
So you can still get it on there. It's just you'd have to pay for it. I don't know. I think Hulu might have it.
Oh, the Sloth Girl's got Amazon Prime. If I can watch it that way.
It's been taking off quite a few things. I've chased it around the internet because I watched it for free. But between the BBC, Paramount, and what is called the WB in America, they go after anyone who's showing their product. And as somebody like, from a perspective, I can understand it, but from an entertainment perspective, B5 hasn't been on in how long?
A while.
Yeah, a long time.
All right, so looks like HBO Max has.
Awesome.
But
Yeah, I still
and
can't
also,
believe I got.
then you just got to drop another $10 a month with some provider.
Yep.
you can always, do things that we're not supposed to do with
All
it
right,
too. So,
So here's my rant. CBS, which is now Paramount, knows that the Star Trek fans are saps, and they know that people like me have been going to cons since it was just Star Trek cons when I was a kid. I paid to watch Star Trek. I paid to watch Picard, Lower Decks, and all their new shows that they're coming out with. Discovery is amazing. I don't know if it's worth it, but I love the show.
you can watch some of that stuff on Prime too.
There's another site I'll tell you later that I watch a lot of ripped stuff off of. But I'm just one of those geeks who fell in that horrible trap, and I pay for Star Trek.
That's why I had to, because I absolutely refuse to pay for Hulu because I've already paid for Disney Plus. I'm not paying the extra to get Hulu.
Mm-hmm.
I went ahead and ripped Orville.
Have you seen Discovery though?
No, I refuse to.
Discovery's amazing. I'm a woke lefty. Discovery's amazing. The new Doctor Who is amazing.
That's my problem. Because I am not that far left.
I'm super flag wavy far left, so I love all of it. Let's retcon everything.
Let's not.
But I mean, okay. Why do they have to do a reboot anyway, though? Like for Discovery, you've got the entire universe, you've got Starfleet established. Why couldn't it just be, this is a new crew on a ship you never heard of before, and still be Star Trek? What would be wrong with that? You could do that without pissing off all the fans.
What they were trying to do is, it makes me laugh because people will always say, "Oh, Hollywood is this and that, and I got my style from this and that." Hollywood is out of touch.
You think?
And so what happens is you get people who are out of touch, and they're like, "This is what edgy people want," and they make a show. And the one thing I will say, though, that because of the internet, as fans, we have more contact, we have more say than any fandom in anything.
Hashtag the Sonic movie.
Exactly.
Why don't they get this with science fiction? That and with Star Wars, they've done a lot of that. And that's the way they should have kept continuing it. They shouldn't have gone back to trying to remake the old characters. They should have just made it, different characters on different planets and just carry on.
You people have fallen down the rabbit hole of arguing about movies. They're just movies. Ignore them. Enjoy them. Stop.
No,
I'm with Jenny in this one.
No,
I
I
don't
say
get
that's
super
that's my
upset
argument,
about the
though.
fandoms that I
See, but
follow.
that's why I made that comment about the woke left, is that's my whole argument. Like when I lost my hair came off over the whole Sonic thing.
Yeah.
I'm right in that age. I was like, if you don't like it, don't watch the movie.
Yeah,
many people complained. I was like, what's going on?
I'm just saying that, this would be an easy way for them to grow a franchise without upsetting people.
Yeah, upsetting people is not upsetting people is overrated.
Fuck upsetting people.
If you're gonna upset
I'll say
someone
this.
somewhere,
I upset people all the time. It's
I'll,
fun.
I'll say this. The newer Star Trek movies, or not Star Trek, Star Wars movies, had some bright points. But the amount of bullcrap that they did to the fans outshines the cool stuff that actually did happen in the new movies.
They didn't do anything to the fans. They made a movie. If you don't like it, don't watch it.
Yeah,
Well,
but you can't alienate people.
I just
Yeah, you
came in.
They do anything they want.
hey, hi, Pirate Kitty.
Hi, Kitty.
Hello. No,
I
I
don't-
just came in to say that I think that because you brought up the Sonic movie, I think this. Oh, let me mute myself. I think the Sonic movie was intentional. I think they purposefully made a shitty looking movie to create controversy and then make the fans feel like they made a difference by having them change it. So I think they released that trailer with the shitty graphics on purpose, but they really already had the good graphics made.
It worked because I went out and bought the movie.
Well, yeah, I'm. And they know that stirring up controversy gives them a lot of free advertising.
Absolutely.
You know?
And to be fair, look who they're competing with too. They're competing with Pokemon.
That's true.
Sega and Nintendo have been going at it for years with those two franchises.
So, what's the average age of a Sonic fan? As someone who played it, 30.
You're looking very late 20s and all the way up into the 40s.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, I played the original one because Sloth Girl had bought the original Sonic Genesis console, just like a few months after it came out.
I still play it. I have one hooked up right there. I still play. Actually, I play Sonic 2. I haven't been that bored in a while, though.
I actually downloaded Sonic Adventure DX Director's Cut off of Steam.
Oh, awesome.
1 and 2.
My son has this thing on PlayStation. It's like Sonic Generations.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool.
I could have actually bought most of the Sonic games that would have been cross-platform in that aspect. But I was like, no, I want those two because I know what I'm getting into when I'm playing them.
So I have a nerd question because I have this weird converter thing where I can watch VHSs on my computer and I can play my Super Nintendo. Can I stream a Sonic game while talking?
Get a capture card.
But can I do that?
Yeah, if you have a capture card, you should.
Okay.
There's plenty of people who do it.
That's what I figured. Because I have my Nintendo 64 hooked up to this computer.
You have an N64?
Right here. Where is it? Here's the remote.
I'm jelly. That's the only old
He's even
system
got the-
that I
he's-
want.
He's even got the Rumble Pack for it.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's the only. I can't get into the retro thing. I don't know why, but there's a certain point where I'm just I can't do it. I can't go back to the Nintendo or maybe the Super Nintendo. Those weren't too bad graphics. But I want a Nintendo 64 simply so I can play Conker's Bad Fur Day.
I bought it for Star Fox.
You can play Conker's Bad Fur Day with an emulator on your computer. I've done it.
I know, but I want the old. I do want the nostalgia feeling for that one.
That's why I bought the Rumble Pack was to play Star Fox.
If I were to get any console to play any one game, it would be the PlayStation 1 with Gex Enter the Gecko.
I loved that. I had a PS1. I was so it was bad. Me and my friends, we were so obsessed with FIFA soccer, we would make bets over it. It turned into gambling. It was bad.
I would want I think it was the PS1 for Legend of the Dragoon.
Oh.
I
Chrono
have,
Cross, Chrono Trigger.
I have Legend of Dragoon and a PS1 sitting around here somewhere.
I miss Legend of Dragoon, even though I don't think I ever got past the second disc.
I was a geek. I had all the Tomb Raiders, and I would go buy the books.
So I'm just glad that we're past the point of having multiple discs, because I had a very bad experience when playing Final Fantasy VIII. In that I got to the battle where you fight the witch chick with the veins on her face, and it's a cutscene after you defeat her, and it does the cutscene, and then you load in disc 2. It would freeze partway through the cutscene. You couldn't load disc 2 until you finished the cutscene.
This
And no
is
matter
why
how many times I beat that fucking boss, it would completely freeze. So I went out and I ended up having to get another copy of the game that I picked up from GameStop for like stupid cheap. And it was a used copy. The one I had gotten before was brand new. And the used copy actually didn't have the same defects that the brand new one did.
This is why I've only ever beaten 2 Final Fantasy games.
I've played them all. I've played everything past 7, and I've never beaten one of them. Because at the time I was with an ex, and we were both playing the game, and he would always, hey, come look, and he would make me sit through the ending when he beat it. So by the time I got to at that point, I lost all interest in the games.
I was obsessed with 7. I loved Final Fantasy 7. That was my game. That was like absolutely my. That and Madden 99. I still have my original copies.
Mine was that Gex Enter the Gecko, Gran Turismo.
Oh yeah.
Metal Gear Solid.
I was obsessed with that one as well.
And then when I got a PS2, my buddies turned me on to Call of Duty. So
I was in this weird group where we would play Tekken obsessively. Obsessively. Me and my friends, like, oh, you got the new Tekken, or you know, like, we would get down. It was awesome.
The only fighting games I ever got into were the Dragon Ball ones.
Full Caliber for me.
I got into that when the GameCube came out.
Ivy with the whip sword. Yes. That is the only character I would play in fucking Soul Calibur.
I miss those games. So you guys are taking me back. See, I'm gonna go. So the reason I have the Rumble Pack,
Smash Brothers.
There's a retro gaming store, of course, because I live in LA. It's called Game Dude, and good old Game Dude. You know, if you're it's funny because every time I go there, there's no kids in there. It's always adults. It's always adults because everything's expensive. Mm-hmm. You know, because if you're going in to buy Mario Kart, you know they got you because they have it, but they're going to charge you for it.
Nerdy? Yes, I did. I beat all of them.
I'm gonna step out. I'm being too loud for my boyfriend, so.
I don't know if you guys can see this,
Okay.
but it's a Bob Ross Deadpool. Have a good night.
Bye, Katie.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Good to see you.
This is a Bob Ross Deadpool keychain. I don't know if you guys can see it.
Oh, hold on. Let me magnify you there.
I can unclip it.
Okay.
Happy little trees and happy little accidents. Dude, I used to watch The Joy of Painting whenever I got home from school. Like, I would rush home from the bus stop to watch The Joy of Painting. I fucking loved watching Bob Ross.
My fiance had, like several seasons of it recorded that she used to watch endlessly. She actually did paint herself, so that was part of it. But yeah, a lot of it was just when she wasn't feeling good, his voice was so soothing.
And
exactly.
He just seems like he's the reason I'm a fucking hippie tree hugger socialist. Because, I mean, happy clouds, happy trees, happy accidents, love, peace. He is a better Jesus than Jesus. Like, he's great.
What the hell happened to me then? I grew up on Mr. Rodgers, that, and a few others, and I play EVE Online, which is one of the most brutal fucking MMOs out there.
I mean, I loved Mr. Rodgers too. And like Mr. Rodgers did amazing things for kids. I mean, and that speech he gave to Congress that like they were going to cut funding to public broadcasting. And not only did they not cut the funding, but after his speech, they decided to increase the funding. And that helped a lot of kids get access to quality educational programming that they might not otherwise have been able to see. Like he was a fucking hero, man.
He's working.
And I believe he was a Mormon, I think. Was he? Or was he just like, I know he was religious. I'm trying to
About
remember
ready to look it up.
like, I know he was really religious. I'm just trying. He was either a Quaker or a Mormon. No, he was a Quaker. I think he
I
was a
was about
Quaker.
to say Quaker sounds familiar.
I think he
Yeah.
was a Quaker because, like, he didn't serve in the military, and like Quakers are, you know, like exempted from military service because they don't believe in warfare. And like
Yeah,
of all the religious groups, the Quakers are the ones that I appreciate the most. Like they've been much more progressive as far as religions go. Like they were discriminated against because they, like, going back to like fucking colonial times, they allowed women to be leaders in the church, to be, you know, pastors, preachers. They, you know, were for equal rights, and they didn't believe in, you know, stereotypical gender roles. And you know, they were some of the first to support gay marriage.
Richard Nixon was a Quaker.
oh, really?
He's also red-green colorblind, by the way, as far as Mr. Rogers.
Oh, wow.
The Quakers are one group I do have some respect for because, you know, I saw they actually do things to help not just their own church but the greater community around them.
I'm gonna look it up too, but
I got the Wikipedia article now.
It took me a minute to find this, but Sloth Girl had posted this about with Bob Ross.
Oh,
Imagine if
that's funny.
Bob Ross and Gordon Ramsay had swapped professions. The chicken is raw, but that's okay. We can cook it a little more. It'll be our secret little accident. Does this tree look fucking happy to you? Does it?
Apparently he was Presbyterian.
Okay, Presbyterian. See,
So
I
Maddie,
knew he was something. Obviously.
Maddie from sorry, Kitty. Maddie from Science Side Up is Presbyterian, and they actually are everything that's the opposite of what atheists rant about. They mind their own business. They're LGBTQIA plus friendly, you know. So Presbyterian is actually on the list of, you know, of one religion to not necessarily poop on too hard. Because they look
Yeah,
at
I
us
think
like,
Presbyterians are similar to the Quakers in that regard, but the Quakers did it first.
and I'm not saying all.
Why I stay out of religion topics, because I don't dig deep enough to shit on certain ones. I just shit on them in general because, yeah.
The problem is it's the loud ones that get, you know, it's always, at least in America, it's the one who screams the loudest, the snake charmer, the one who can lie to everybody, like Joel, what's his face?
Joel Osteen.
Yeah,
Yes.
I tend not to get into it too much because I don't know a lot about the individual denominations. You know, there are a couple that I know need to be avoided and probably should be shut down, like Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons, because I've heard enough from people who had belonged to those churches who just really got screwed up by them.
Exactly. I think that's part of the problem too. Or like the Church of Scientology has this place called the Dream Center in Los Angeles, and basically if you're homeless, they put you in a religious program. It's fronted by a church, but it's really the Church of Scientology, and you sign your life away like you would if you joined the Church of Scientology.
Damn.
So when you go there, you can't
It's not
leave.
a church. It's a scam.
When you go there, you have to sign a contract, and you can't leave for at least 9 months. You can't contact your family. You can't, but they'll get you off the streets, you know.
Yeah, that sounds an
prey
awful
on
lot
people
like
at their most
some form of
vulnerable.
indentured servitude at the best, if not slavery.
Quite literally what we warn homeless the homeless newcomers in general, or just people in general, like, these people will mortgage your life. Be careful, because legally when you sign that contract, like, they own you.
Yeah, Jenny was trying to say something there.
Scientology is a cult. It is nothing more, nothing less. It does not deserve the respect of a title of church. It does not deserve the respect of a title of church. It is just a bunch of bullcrap made up by a science fiction writer in a bar.
Yep.
Anything that makes you sign a
Agree.
contract, any religion that makes you sign a contract, you should run.
Run.
Well-
yes. Run away.
The other big thing with any religious group is any group that won't explain to you what they believe in before you get started, walk away. You know,
Yeah,
if
if
they're
they're hiding
keeping
stuff from
keeping
you.
it all hidden in these deep secrets, yeah, then they're up to some kind of a scam. Because
know-
if it was what they really believed, they'd tell you up front.
In the drug world,
To learn the secrets of the religion. If that's not a scam and a cult,
Yeah,
I
well,
don't know what is.
I ran into that with a half dozen pagan groups, and it's like, yeah, I'll pass. And then, like 6 months, a year later, I find a couple of people who had previously belonged to these groups and like got halfway through the process. You know, and it's like, yeah, you find out the scary shit that they were trying to pull on people.
we quite literally have to warn people that are new to LA that if you're down and out, these people are not there to help you. And it's not just the Church of Scientology or the Dream Center. It's other religions as well that they come, like especially evangelical churches, they'll say, oh, you know, we'll feed you, we'll give you a job, and you are quite literally their indentured servant. Because they're using you to help recruit homeless people, cook all day. Then you got to learn their religion. It's a scam. But it always comes down to money. The Church of Scientology owns, if you were to stand on Sunset Boulevard where their big blue giant temple is, okay, on L. Ron Hubbard Boulevard, if you were to stand facing west, they quite literally own, I don't know, 20, 30, 40, 50 square miles just heading west. They own some of the best real estate that Los Angeles has to offer. They have millions, and it has nothing to do with the people. They own half of Hollywood and the tourist area as well.
Or it has nothing to do with the people. Which people?
The Church of Scientology is a scam.
Yes.
The people walking around have nothing to do with the church. It's a pyramid scheme. They own more land. Like literally, the joke is the Church of Scientology owns the left side, Disney owns the right side.
Yep.
And McDonald's owns everything else, which is true, at least in LA.
Well, and I've heard that's basically the same thing with Orlando, that the Mormons own half of it and Disney owns the other half.
I dare you to find find a town in America that does not have a McDonald's.
We don't have one.
Do you live out in the middle of absolute oaky, smoky woodchuck nowhere?
That's what I'm gonna say. I know another town that doesn't have a McDonald's.
Okay,
There is
okay. Per cap.
There's
All right,
25 miles around here.
all right, I'm gonna look. That's close.
Literally,
You own a car. That's
population.
close.
Well, I grew up when I was younger, out in the country, near a town called New Hampton, which was a population of about 300 to 400 people. The closest McDonald's was over 10 miles away.
Let me expand on that. There is not a McDonald's, a Burger King, a Hardee's, a Wendy's. A Culver's? What are some of the other big fast food places?
Like
Hey,
a
Jen-
Carl's Jr., Checkers.
No,
Here's a question, Jenny.
None of those within 25 miles. None.
Jenny, here's a question. Do you have more churches than gas stations?
Well, yeah.
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 You're largely getting into the town I was living in Michigan.
There's Lutheran churches, though.
Oh, God.
I mean, there are a lot of Mormons in Florida, and there's also the Seventh-day Adventists. Like, all of the hospitals around here are basically owned by the Adventists. Like, we have Advent Health, which is essentially the hospital and doctor system, all run by the Seventh-day Adventists.
I am so glad that my job is government based and not anything else now.
People don't realize that Mayo Clinic is part of the Franciscan health network.
Yep.
Oh yeah, until you get hurt. And they send a priest in. You realize real quick where you are.
Like, I went to the Mayo Clinic and they literally got on this bullshit about, basically praying to help me with my pain. And I'm like,
Oh
yeah,
my
fuck
God.
off.
At our there's a county hospital within, I don't know, 10, 15 miles of my house on the freeway. There are crosses everywhere. In every room, there's statues everywhere. And it's a county hospital, but it is an overtly religious place.
Yep.
And the hospital I go to here is a Lutheran hospital, and it doesn't have any icons in it whatsoever. I haven't seen one single religious thing in it anywhere.
The hospital I had my son in, there are pictures of Jesus fucking guiding the hands of the doctors on every fucking floor.
That's what I'm saying. I walked into the new building they built, and there's a like 15-foot cross in there.
God damn. Now, if I ever got sent to a hospital like that, I'd be like, yeah, no, take me somewhere else.
I don't think you have a choice around here. Like everything is kind of religious in that sense, and we have a private
I'm a
hospital.
veteran.
We have a private hospital, but they're way overpriced.
Yeah, that's another one of the problems with the American healthcare system is that too many of the hospitals are religiously affiliated, and especially now with that thing they passed, that they can decide not to give you treatment if it, violates their religious convictions.
Yep.
What if their religious conviction is not liking people of color?
Yeah. Unfortunately, the way the law's written, I don't see, how that's a problem for them.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that would get struck down by the Supreme Court, though.
Well, the law should be struck down by the Supreme Court anyway. Because why is it okay for them not to give treatment to somebody because they're trans?
If you break it down,
absolutely.
Part is the ones who put it into force.
Our federal government should be going into all of these states and kicking the crap out of their crappy voter, and these stupid trans bills and their bad voting bills. That's literally the point of the government, is to keep these people in line,
Well, that is what the Constitution is really about.
used to be about.
Well, that's what the whole government was supposed to be about, but yeah, not doing it anymore.
Like, hey, you make a stupid law, we'll send the National Guard in. That's old school.
You've got the Electoral College, the Three-Fifths Compromise, that were basically there to give extra power to slave states, because even though they had more humans, Black people didn't count as a full human being. So the Electoral College was there to basically give them an edge and make them competitive with the non-slave states.
Yay. Whoop-dee. History is fun.
It's fucking depressing.
History
especially
can
since
be
it keeps
fun.
repeating.
Where are you driving to, Nikki?
I am driving a tractor right now.
I drive a tractor in real life. What kind of tractor are you driving?
I thought it was
Oliver.
just old. Go ahead.
It's an Oliver.
Oh, awesome. I own a Kubota and a 1979 Ford tractor.
I'm playing Farm Sim. That's why I'm driving a tractor.
That looks more fun than doing it in real life.
It can be.
Yeah, well, I stabbed myself with a pen.
Yikes. That reminds me, I have to finish my punk pants.
Hey, Junie, why don't you jump in here?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll be right back. I gotta get me some drink.
Okay. So today at the grocery store, my son, he's just has the greatest quibs ever. He looks at me and he's like, why do they play the cringiest music at the grocery store? And I was like, hey, this is like easy listening from the 90s. And he's like, this is the cringiest music ever.
And then you're
And it
just
was
like,
that-
wow, right in my heart, kid. Thanks.
And I'm rocking out. I'm like rocking out at the grocery store, like, hey, they finally got a good station today. Yeah, it made me laugh. Kids,
it's probably not a station. Most cases, it's something pre-recorded by the corporation that's specifically designed to just keep the customers relaxed.
when I worked for Carl's Jr., and I know I'm not giving away any secrets, they had their own satellite radio. So every Carl's Jr. has a receiver, and you get like 15 channels of the same stuff.
Yeah.
And then during Christmas, you get tortured for a month and a half.
Same thing when I worked for Subway. That it wasn't actually a radio station. It was all coming in, through the internet connection. That it was just piping the music into all their stores.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and
So-
yet, oh, sorry.
No, just the same thing that, so they could control it with, as far as there were some commercials for other places, but there'd never be a commercial for a competitor,
Exactly.
and then they could just, have promotions in there for whatever specials or new products they had that month.
But you were talking about your son not liking your music, whereas my son pulled up and he's listening to Spotify the other day, and he starts with "We Didn't Start the Fire," and then goes to "We Got the Beat," and then "I'm Still Standing" by Elton John. And I'm like, all right, I can get behind this. I'm like jamming out while I'm sewing.
I do that. That's why I have a bar here where I stand up and sew. I rock out. I'll put my headphones on. That's what I do on the weekend when I'm ignoring the world.
Yeah, I've been trying to find some kind of heavy duty, noise cancellation headphones. Because just with the power tools, I mean, they sell a lot of them that say they're noise cancellation, but only handle up to about 25 decibels. And it's like when I'm breaking out the power tools, that doesn't even begin to help.
So what I do is I have my chainsaw earmuffs. I gotta look and see what brand they are, but they hug your ears, and then I put my my ear pods in.
Mm-hmm.
It completely cancels out the noise.
I've got a set of those too, but even most of those earmuffs are only rated for 25 to 30 decibels.
I have to look at mine. I think I have a small pair. They hug on my big fat head.
Yeah.
We had really good ones at the racetrack. You could actually still transmit and receive and hear decently with big noisy cars going fast.
Yeah, because, it's like most of the power tools are running 80 to 120 decibels.
Yeah, the cars were only about 110, 120. But these earmuffs they had were the big, thick part on your skin.
Oh yeah.
This fancy fluid-filled junk. You'd sweat like a pig in the front.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that if it's a fluid or a gel instead of just the foam rubber.
Yeah, they really feel.
Oh, it is another rockin' Friday night. I have a cold, so I'm like kind of bleh.
Hey, I feel like I got hit by a bus after my second COVID vaccine. I actually took a 2-hour nap today. I never nap.
I know. So Kitty, when you wake up from a nap, do you feel refreshed?
I usually just feel like yes and no. Like, I mean, sometimes I feel like a little bit like I'll feel a little bit better, but not necessarily refreshed because I usually end up just still feeling tired.
Yeah. I wake up so groggy it almost isn't worth it when I take naps. I
Yeah.
have to remember where I am and what year it is. But it's rare.
I'm not super groggy, but I usually do still feel tired after a nap.
Grand Tractor Auto. Do I have to send those pictures again to Perp? Let me see if it's on this phone.
No, I could go dig them out. They're still in the group here. Hey, Junie.
Hey.
Hi everyone.
Been a hot minute.
Hello.
I know, yes, it has been a while.
How are you?
Good. Yeah, I just don't have the time I wish I did. Like every day that I wish I'd have like an extra hour in a day, I lose that hour. So yeah, I've been very slow on my video projects and projects here at home.
We'll drink more coffee.
Microraptor again, dangerously infringing on the copyright here.
I was waiting for you. I was waiting to see if you were gonna.
Oh, we've argued about this one before.
I saw that right away. Oh.
All right. So I've made 4 of those bags now, Junie. I'm working on the 5th one now.
Jeez. And talk about having time. Like I also want to finish these hat caps for work. And the material is just sitting there, just waiting to be sewn. It's just, again, there's no time.
I mean, just sleep less. Mainline some caffeine and go.
Yeah. Well, yeah, my problem is not sleeping enough, so I'm never fully awake, so I'm never very productive. If I could actually sleep through the night once in a while, I'd actually be able to get something done.
I am scattered when I don't have enough.
I'd give you some of my hours if I could.
Okay, bad door buck.
And Jenny, I think well, yeah, I don't know if you got it, but I've sent you I guess a gift of mine.
So Perp, I sent you.
Yep.
So in real life, that's my tractor.
Jeez, you weren't kidding then.
No, I'm not kidding. That is and that is the back room to the bay of my property. And that's my tractor. And the other one is a rusty, dusty, old. That's a Kubota. That's newer within the past like 10 years. It runs like it's amazing. It's an amazing tool.
I saw someone mention the Kubota here. Yeah. Also, let me know if I'm lagging or or if ahead of everybody.
No, you're spot on right now.
Awesome.
That's got to be weird when you're in a vortex like last time.
Yeah, no kidding.
So if a cat had a baby in the bucket, that would be the whole kit and caboodle?
So you're not supposed to.
You bitch.
Did
All
you
you
see
gotta
the
give
other
us
one?
like a grand tour. I know it might be doxing, but like maybe just the inside. I don't know of the entire place.
I have a few pictures,
I
but
think we've seen your closet at one point.
Okay, that's the other one.
that is the 1979. That thing is so rewired, pulled apart, put back together that, like, if you know how to drive a tractor, that thing would roll over on you. There's only like 5 people that know how to operate that thing.
You do not know what I grew up driving then.
That thing is that is a real life hillbilly tractor. That thing has been put
No.
back together so many
Yeah,
times.
my uncle has one like that.
I grew up driving a very, very old John Deere tricycle,
Oh wow. Oh wow.
circa like 1960s, if not older.
Let me see. I don't know why it put me in that group.
I like the new John Deeres that they have. We see around here once in a while. They're huge. They're bigger than a house. They're really big.
They look
And
like monster trucks.
they're treads instead of wheels, and they have they're like these triangular shaped feet. You know that the tread makes a triangle instead of a loop like a tank.
Hold on. I can actually pull those
And
up.
there's 2 on each side. And these things, I mean, they're just fucking huge.
Without doxing myself, I can share these 2 pictures. And I swear, Perp, these are the last 2 pictures I'm sending you. I swear.
Hold on a sec.
I did this to her last night.
I say doxing because it's like you don't want like if anybody watches like to know where.
Oh no, we have a
it's like,
security
oh,
guard that
no,
will
you-
smoke somebody if they go. But it's out in the middle of nowhere. Like it's quite literally, and it's boring. There's nothing to. So you know it's your shop. That's a picture of me on the but that's a cleaned up version of my shop. It has giant 35-foot bays. You can get a bus in there to operate. That's the front bay.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I had even a garage to set up a shop in. You know, at this point, it's like I've got all the tools and equipment, and I can't afford a space to set them up. And
Same.
I
Just barely was able to get it like a small shed this year, but that's only because the place came with it for rent. So I decided to take it as well because I needed that for the extra, not even for the tools, it's just everything that I had to carry with me.
yeah, Jenny, what you're saying?
I just want to go out to park my car in.
And that's the other half. That's the other half of the shop. The loft up there is every piece of furniture I've ever had from an apartment that I didn't want to get rid of. It's up there. That's where birds go to peck down the insulation up there. It's a war zone in that loft up there.
Along with a golf
One
cart.
second. I got something for what Jenny was saying.
But yeah, that's my oversized shop where I can go in and scream the F word and no one can hear me.
Rubius, where's up for you?
Oh. Yeah. Okay, Randy, hold on.
Where can I get? And I apologize ahead of time also, like I won't be able to stay too long because I have work in the morning.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah.
I'm under the weather, so it's a strange Friday night for me myself.
Yeah.
I've had half a pot of coffee, and I'm not my usual peppy self. That's how I know I'm sick. That's how I know, like, I am not well.
Oh, I just can't wait to get over these allergies. That
Yes,
at least
Michael,
until summer.
Are we talking about that tractor?
oh wow.
John
That looks,
Deere
that,
tractor.
that, no, that's a pretty small version of what we have around here.
That's the biggest one that John Deere produces right now.
So
Nah.
do you
No,
so
that's
so
tiny.
Jenny, you see harvesters then, like full harvesters.
Oh yeah, the combine harvesters.
They're like city size.
Yep.
Those things
Well,
are.
go back. No, that's not it either.
Now I got that song stuck in my head. I'm an international
Look at the price on that
harvester.
thing. Is that 680,000?
Yeah.
$492,000.
That's a rough estimate. It's probably not exact, but it's fairly close.
Tractors are not cheap.
People wonder why farmers are in such tight situations. You know, you spend money on something like that so you can do your job, and then the weather says "fuck you" and screws you for a year.
Well, like if you watch like the Millennial Farmer, he's literally got probably a good couple $1 million worth of equipment sitting on his farm.
Oh, easily. You could do that real quick with tractors
Oh, sure.
and just tools in general. You know, that's why we have security guards. Come on my ranch, you gonna meet some cowboys.
The typical farm around here is probably between 4 and 1,000 acres, and 400 to 1,000 acres, and that's not all that huge when it comes to a production farm.
Oh, that's beautiful. That Ford is just mouth-watering. Sorry, Jenny.
But these guys, they had two bad years of weather. They got some crops coming in, but not near what they're used to getting. And then fucking Trump.
Oh, that's
soybeans for 2 years with his dicking around. And is that an Oliver? No, that's Ford.
Trump.
You guys have had 4 years in a row of just fucking bad finances.
Well,
And
he also got our, like, in California, we would give most of our beef to the Chinese. And guess who told us to go shove ourselves because of Trump?
the Chinese.
Yeah. So Trump almost destroyed the cattle business in California, but Americans, they eat a lot of beef, so we just had a lot cheap, at least around here.
Here's the tractor that's the actual little size of a house. The smaller one, anyway.
Like, that's why it pisses me off that we have, like, fucking subsidies for fossil fuels, but, limited subsidies for farmers. Like, I mean, farmers need to produce food for our fucking country. We should be subsidizing them and helping protect them when they have bad years.
And they help our
It's
economy.
getting there. It's getting there. It is getting there. It's just taking time.
Almost all the soybeans that are grown in this area go to China.
Yeah, exactly. And see, exactly, Jenny. That's what I'm saying. So when we start losing those contracts, it almost put California under again. Because our Central Valley, like, we
Oh my
put a lot of our
God.
stuff to
You have so much shit out there in that Central Valley.
to Japan and China. It's not even funny of how much of our cattle we give to overseas.
Don't you guys like grow like over 380 something different types of crop out there?
Yeah, because first off, California. When I used to drive to Oregon, it would take me 9.5 hours just to get out of California, going north. So the central California,
Wisconsin produces the world's supply of ginger. People think it's an Asian thing.
Really? I did not know that.
Yep, we produce more ginger here than anywhere else on earth.
we have like
So there are the most redheads in Wisconsin.
Oh, wow.
How's it going, Randy?
How's it going, Randy?
Oh, it's going pretty darn good, guys. Hi.
Okay, there's a compelling question. I am at a loss for an answer.
I answered it. I answered it.
Okay.
I guess the
Well, he
only
lost
well, I don't know. I think it's just the election of
Yeah,
2016 in general was just, I guess, I was
okay.
more involved into politics.
There
But
has
I
to have
took,
been something he did accidentally that helped someone. You know, he has to have pushed something
One thing.
for the purpose of promoting his business that incidentally helped someone else.
I
No,
got
because whatever
the
his
solution
business
here.
did to had to spend money on to accomplish, probably didn't pay the bill.
Okay, Randy had something.
Okay, the one bill that he signed that did some good for other people was the bill that made the rights to musicians and other artists' creations to where they actually own the rights to it, other than like putting it out on YouTube or what the hell ever, and everything else. Their music was free, and so whatever bill it was that he put out there, where musicians had the right to their own music to where they can make a living at it, was a good thing, because
Yeah, but that's not something that he pushed for or
the
lobbied
world was
for. He just signed it. Like Congress did that.
Okay, I really wasn't aware of that one. So
what
He had zero policies. He had zero.
actually Kanye West and Kid Rock was right there talking Trump into it, because they couldn't make a living off of $90 because of 80 million people said yay. So you can't make a living off of $90 because you made a song, and 80 million hits on whatever the hell thing. It's $90.
okay,
So they come up
so
with this bill, and Trump said, "Hey, I'm going to sign this, so you got rights to your own music, and these big corporations can't just screw you over."
so he
People
did
who actually
something,
create
but
the
it still
music
came
actually have
down
the
to him
rights to the
doing a
music.
favor for a personal friend.
Yeah.
He also did this
Also,
really
aren't they
weird,
millionaires?
Yeah,
but he
Like, aren't they
also,
both millionaires? Kanye and Kid Rock.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
So, like,
they were
obviously,
before.
they're making a living
Yeah,
just fine.
yeah. Well, yeah. The thing of it is, they couldn't at a certain point in time, because people were getting their music for damn near free. You can't make
I
a
don't know what you're
living
saying.
once. You know,
no, I agree 100%. We need
so he made it to
reform.
where you got the rights to your own music. It got to a point when he was elected, just before he was elected, it got to a point to where social media owned everything anybody had,
Yep.
like creating music or movies or what the hell ever. Everything was just plain old free, because anybody can get their damn hands on it and then produce it and say, ta-da, put it on YouTube. And there's a stop to that, because they could not make an actual living doing that stuff. That's what I said. 80 million people are not going to make $90, because YouTube's hits and solution to your pay is not going to make you a goddamn living. I mean, who the hell's going
And
to have $90 a month going to make them a living?
I
Yep.
hate to say it, now that I'm reading
Seriously.
the bill, he did massive, massive prison reform. He did like massive prison reform. But people actually have to enact these laws that he made, because I know he let a lot of people out of prison, but he did like
Yeah,
Really?
massive prison reform.
right.
Yeah.
sometimes the wrong people out of prison too.
No, I'm not saying, but look at his pardon system. Let's be real. He pardoned people who could afford to give him money. He pardoned Lil Wayne. He pardoned, who did he pardon? People who could afford to drop a couple 100,000 or however, because I'm sure he went for a low price.
Yep.
Trump is cheap.
Okay, Doc Fearsome has one. Trump did increase voter turnout in the 2020 election.
I
Nice.
think I think he's a scumbag and leaves a slime trail.
Well, I
So-
think it was the highest turnout in a presidential election
It
in like
was.
50 years.
Mhm.
Any election ever.
Yeah, it was the highest ever.
Well, I mean, it was the highest for raw numbers. I'm not sure about for percentage.
No, I'm joking. I'm choking out of laughter because they won't. What we think of the Republican Party is imploding right now. This show of solidarity today was saying, we're actually completely fracturing. But I'm gonna lie and say that we're a unit. They lied their arses off today.
Well, I think they really made a mistake with bouncing out Liz Cheney.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah, what was
that
that
triggered the
about?
Civil War.
Yeah, because obviously the Cheneys have a lot of influence and a lot of powerful friends.
They own the other half that George Bush doesn't own.
Right. Yeah, so I think
they have buildings everywhere. That like in Casper, Wyoming.
Yeah, but I think that's also going
it's
to
the second biggest city, and here it is, the Cheney IRS building, and it's like, how the hell could a IRS building still be a Cheney building? And then you think about it, and it's like, well, it's because they got better looking in their bikinis or something.
Because the government leases buildings just like any other business.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, they just lease office space from wherever they can get in the amount of space they need.
They don't build every single building they need.
About the only thing they actually build are post offices.
Dumber than a bag of
They build
hams.
hospitals. They build VA hospitals too.
Yeah, we have a few here.
Well, yeah, the military.
Hi, Nikki. I don't know who you are, but hi.
Hello.
I'm Randy, and I'm an asshole.
Randy has a delay.
Me and you will get along just fine.
Randy has a delay because he's in the woods.
Hey, don't you two live close to each other?
Not me. I have Google Fiber. I don't know what anyone else is talking about.
No, Ray.
I got a tin can and some yarn.
Yep.
What state are you in?
Michigan.
Let's see. Hold on.
Oh, okay. I sorry. I thought you were somewhere else. For some reason, I thought you were in Arkansas.
No, Randy's.
I'm not married to my cousin.
Actually, Randy's up somewhere in the general area where I used to live. I'm not sure what town he's near.
I had this dream of living in Alaska. I wanted to have the rugged outdoor life, and then I went there and was like, I will not survive the winter here.
Are they still paying people to come live in Alaska?
Yeah, every resident of Alaska gets like $6,000 a year
that's more
for their share of the mineral rights.
It's beautiful.
It's basically a UBI.
Yeah.
I thought it was just 3,000. Wow.
Well, you have to consider the cost of living there because everything has to be trucked in from literally thousands of miles away.
Exactly.
True. Yeah.
It's like 5 times anything in the United States.
Hawaii as
in
well.
the lower 48, at least.
If you look up prices for things in Hawaii, you're like, whoa.
Yeah,
Whoa.
I actually got a job offer in Hawaii once. This was back in the 90s, and it was like for twice what I'd ever made before.
Yeah.
But then I checked into the cost of living, and it's like, oh yeah, I can't afford to eat on that.
Yeah. Same here.
That's like I was offered in 2000. I was offered my absolute dream job in Boston as a senior editor for a large publisher. And I mean, is that glorious or what?
Yeah.
And we'll pay you this much, and it was like $75,000 a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good money.
Well, the
What
thing
did you
is
say? A
why.
senior editor?
Let me finish my story, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Until I got a load of the cost of living, and I would have had to. I was living in Milwaukee. I owned a home. I was 2-car garage. I owned 4 cars, 2 dogs. My yard had trees. There was parking on the street, and my taxes were only about $2,500 a year for property tax. If I would have taken the job in Boston, I would have had to get rid of the dogs, get rid of the cars. Maybe kept 1 car if I could learn the parking system well enough. I would have had to take on a roommate. Okay, and at $75,000 a year, how old was I then? In my 40s, and I'm going to take on a roommate. Fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. That's unreal.
Oh, what a
Yeah.
shock that was. Oh, and I so wanted that job. Oh,
Yeah. Well, the offer I had in Hawaii would have
I
been a
wouldn't
very
have done it either.
interesting thing. Just because it was somebody who had got a look at some of my plans for a self-sufficient homestead and wanted me to go there to help them build an alternative energy system, basically a wind and solar system to run a farm.
I wanted to, when I was in my 20s, I had this dream of living in San Francisco. And then I remembered I wasn't a millionaire.
Just quickly. Hi,
Hi,
everyone.
Microraptor.
Hey, Mike.
Micro.
Hi, Microraptor.
Go on, soon.
Oh, now you done did it. Microraptor knows that you're here.
I've had this
and
dream
they're
of
gonna
living in
hunt
San
you down.
Francisco.
hi, Micro.
Well, having micro in the name doesn't make them sound like a very fierce predator.
No, that's actually the point. The reason I chose that particular species is because raptors are cool, but microraptor makes it sound less scary. So
Right.
yeah, that's actually the reason why I picked that one.
Point of order. Microraptor is part of the parrot family, like falcons. By the way,
What?
are part of the parrot family. Yeah,
But
yeah.
microraptors are
Falcons are part
no. Microraptors
Yeah,
are
part of the
dinosaurs.
parrot family.
No, they're dinosaurs.
Yep, just
Yeah, but I mean they're
well, yeah.
theropods.
Yeah.
They're dromaeosaurs, related to velociraptors.
My
Yeah.
daughter comes in wrestling. Their boys who identify as
Yeah, exactly. But they're
But
in
I'm
the family of
confused.
parrot.
So, Herb, can I kick
They're in
the
the family of parrot.
Yeah, I was just trying to read that
What?
myself here.
Sorry.
Oh, no,
Okay.
that's okay.
Can I kick the
Yeah.
troll, or you wanna keep it up?
Am I misunderstanding something? Just
Probably.
parrots and dromaeosaurs have very different fins.
Sorry, I was having trouble reading the text. But yeah,
It's
not really a valid
transphobic.
question.
It's transphobic.
Yeah,
BS, and it bothers me when people talk about kids. Sorry.
yep.
Yep.
I think people need to remember what they're talking about. It's creepy when you put kids in a category like that.
Micro
I'm
is big.
sorry.
Yeah.
Leave kids alone, for real.
I didn't see what was said.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
pretty
agree,
much let
Gavin,
kids
sorry.
live their life.
It was basically just going with the transphobia on the
On sports.
Ew, bro.
trans people in high school sports.
Oh, fuck off.
Hey.
I have
so
no
agree I don't need to
nonsense.
fuck
Like
off.
if it's sincere, whatever. But I have no nonsense for this turfy, just talking points. I have no
I don't either.
no patience whatsoever in any way, shape, or form. So the second I hear anything that's like that sounds like Julia Long or Posey Parker, I'm done.
And
Instantly.
especially when it comes to the high school sports, okay? In
Hey.
professional sports, the argument they try to make is that somebody who went through puberty as a boy has some advantage, which, it's a really weak argument, but there's something there. If you're talking about teenagers who haven't gone through puberty yet, there's no fucking difference at all.
Yeah. And I mean, if I, for example, play against someone who is 10 centimeters taller than me, I play basketball against them, they have an advantage that is genetic.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
Yeah.
And that's, what Australian Jen would say if she was here, that, sports aren't taking the average people. Sports are taking people who have some physical advantage.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Usain Bolt isn't
Yeah, they are.
average.
I said this. We literally had the conversation yesterday. Up until COVID, I was in a 35 and over hockey league where a bunch of ex-smokers can go and play hockey and beat the crap out of each other. It was basically anyone who was over 35 could be in the league. It didn't matter. It just anyone who was over 35 and was into hockey. I think we overstate things too much, and this is not Fox News. I have no patience for turfy arguments whatsoever, and I don't feel well, so I'm really quick on that.
Any argument of male or boys having an advantage over female in high school, that is just when the males are starting to grow up. And any males in like 9th grade and below are shorter than the females.
No, not really.
Just now hitting puberty. Most of the females are bigger than the males. For the boys.
If they are trans
boys
kids at that age,
they develop. The boys develop later than girls. So I don't know anything about trans or anything, but this is just the norm.
You give any child 2 years of puberty, and the male will exceed the female in physical strength, virtually every time, almost every time.
Yeah, but if you have kids that are identifying as trans at that age, then it's appropriate to put them on puberty blockers so they don't go through puberty while they're sorting that out.
But if you're talking about kids that are, say, 16, 17, a sophomore, junior in high school, and suddenly they say I'm trans, and even if you put them on hormones for a year, that body and frame will still have a little bit of advantage over a female, because it's going to take them another 2 or 3 years on hormones for them to drop down to the natural female level for strength. It just takes time to do that.
Yeah, correct.
It's absolutely correct that if you take somebody who's prepubescent and you put them on female hormones, they're going to grow up female. Period. It's just there's not going to be a speck of maleness in their frame, in their musculature, in their metabolism. It's amazing. It's amazing how much it affects the kid.
Well, I'll say this, since I am recently on HRT, within the first 6 months anyway, just barely now though. I have noticed some strength loss.
Oh yeah, you bet you
but
will.
Not a whole lot.
No, it takes time.
Yep.
It takes time. But eventually, you will lose as much as I have lost in my decades of being on HRT. When I was in the story, I always told that I used to be able to pick up and move a 400-pound engine when I was pre-transition, and now I can barely lift 100 pounds. Period. I don't even think I could do 100 pounds.
Right. That's right. Just like me being. I never went through any transition or anything like that, but it's sort of an entropy thing. It's just the cellular structure just isn't going to be growing like it would with total testosterone maleism. I think I want to call it.
Here's the thing, though. Go ahead.
Oh, Kitty.
Yes, sorry. I've been on testosterone for almost a year. Next month is my 1 year birthday on testosterone. But I can already feel that I'm not as muscular as before. I'm sure I've also not been exercising as much this year, but still it's not like my down periods on the exercising before testosterone is really more than that. So, and also, I do think it's it's good that I don't like sports, but I do think it sounds like a good thing that people are questioning, like, how do we categorize people? Like, is gender a reasonable way of doing that, or should we do it another way? Like, that sounds like a good thing
It's just
to have that discussion. I mean,
Kitty, what were you going to say?
No, I was gonna say, like, sports in general, like, we don't do handicaps in sports, and so, I mean, just two cis females are going to have different advantages and disadvantages regardless, because some are just naturally more muscular or stronger. So, I mean, especially when you're not talking about, competition at a professional level. I mean, you're talking school sports. Like, I honestly don't see why you would make such a big fuss about it, because a school athlete is not going to be competing at the level of a professional athlete. And
yeah.
But you're also
Yeah,
you're also
I
that
can remember
any
back
sports,
in high school.
high school and
I'm
beyond.
sorry.
Any sports, high school and beyond. There's people who sit on the bench, and there's people who are starters. Okay, and it's because of the individual differences that people have, that athletes have. Some are better than others, and that's just the way it is. Now,
Yep.
do I want to put a major leaguer up against a girls softball? Maybe. I've watched girls softball a lot. Fast pitch softball. A lot of people could never hit that thing ever. They pitch so fast and so intensely.
Well,
But for them to go into the majors, they're gonna have to spend some time in the minors and get up to speed. But women could play professional baseball.
In the 90s,
But
there was a team called the Silver Bullets, and they played AAA baseball, and they were just as good as the men.
I would expect that, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, why not?
Randy was trying to put something in there.
Well, when I was in school, I was thinking, there's a lot of tough girls that went into sports, and they were way better than me, which was totally great. But they didn't want to go to the prom. Anyways, it just didn't matter because they were just individual. I mean, we were all kids. I mean, let's face it, we were all kids. And if the kid that got the bigger muscles and the faster what the hell ever, they're the ones that the coaches decided to pick for the sport. And people like me got picked to sit on the sidelines.
And that was the point that I was making.
It doesn't matter. I was pure male, 100%, and it didn't matter. It's just that I wasn't a very tough kid. Other kids were.
Like, having just boys and girls teams is not the best way to do it, because it's not the most fair way to do it, because you're going to have people, like, sports is not about fairness, it's competition, and you work with what you've got, your own natural genetics and blood, sweat, tears, and hard work. And there are going to be girls that are cis women, they're cis girls, yet they could compete just fine with the cis boys. And there are going to be cis boys that honestly would get fucking wrecked competing with cis boys. So ultimately, it comes down to the individual. And unless you're going to do it like boxing, where you have weight classes, and rather than just be, a binary gender of male or female sports, instead going by weight class. So, I mean, with golf and shit like that, it doesn't really matter. But if you're doing contact sports, like, do it with people of similar build, and that would be the most fair way to do it, but that's not how we do sports, because sports aren't inherently fair.
I'll say
Yeah.
this because I grew up in
arm
a.
wrestler that. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I grew up in a couple different areas. One of the high schools I went to, when I was playing high school basketball, junior high / high school basketball, the girls in general, their team was better than the guys because the guys only had like 3 to 4 good players, and I was not one of them.
I think it's in football. In the Sweden, I mean, for the Americans, I mean soccer. Soccer in the men's team, the Swedish men's team aren't that good, but in the Swedish women's team are amazing. They apparently have a lot of medals, and like they won several gold medals, and like yeah, they're much better than the men. So I don't know if that was a good point for anything, but yeah, that's something else. Sort of.
I
Our
think there
women's
were-
soccer team is always better than our men's in America.
Okay.
Jenny?
That's because the nice
think there-
shorts that they
there
wear.
will always be women who are strong enough and unique enough to be able to compete in men's sports to some degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are certain sports which
I
lend
agree.
themselves to that crossover very well. Things like golf, things like tennis, where there's not contact. But you get into a contact sport and you take a linebacker who's 6'8", 300 and some pounds. You are not sensibly going to put a woman who is 5'6", 5'7", even 6 foot. And
Okay,
weighs-
but that's not real life. That's not real life. If you put a woman the same size up against a man the same size, there would be no advantage.
Oh,
Yeah, again.
I don't. In a football or a rugby situation, I don't.
Because
I
in football, there was on the Rams, there was a guy who was
I don't
5'6".
know.
You know, I think we are overstating the fact that we constantly go by these divided lines. There's not much of a difference between us. It's
But
the
again-
differences that we make.
If you're going to talk about a sport where the person's mass is actually important, then gender has nothing to do with it, and they should just
Exactly.
be competing with people in their weight class.
Exactly. That's why I made the
When I
reference to
was
my
working-
hockey league, because it was just a
Sports that I
bunch of men with CPOD playing hockey.
Okay, let Randy go and then Jenny.
When I was working landscaping, I was working with a young female, and she said, "You know, I had to. It was a hard time for me to accept that people that were smaller than me were stronger than me just because of their gender." She said because males actually, pound for pound, have stronger muscles than females, and she actually had a harder time working in the business that we worked because of, you know, males were stronger by nature, pound for pound.
in my
And that's
senior
all I
year,
got to say.
in my senior year in high school, when I was a active swimmer, doing three to 7 miles a day, swimming, and I wasn't in those days. I wasn't fat. I wasn't crippled. I was not the greatest athlete by any means, but I was respectful for myself. I was about 5'8", 5'9" in my senior year, and I weighed around 150 to 160, 65, something like that. I got my ass kicked by the 98-pound wrestling letter winning wrestler in our school. He absolutely kicked my ass. He had no hope of beating me.
I have one of my best friends. One of my best friends is a little black woman. She's barely 5 foot tall, barely 100 pounds. You do not want to open up that bag of kick ass. You know, I mean, she can easily take
Could you
down somebody
explain how
twice her
pretty she is
size.
to me?
Yeah, I can imagine that. And with Jenny, speaking of swimming, like that, swimming is just one of those sports where, yeah, you have to have that skill. Like, no matter what the gender is like, there are people who are much better swimmers than I am because they train for that competition.
Hmm.
Yeah. I used to be a great swimmer when I was in the military. I used to do competitions with. I was on CNN 2 one time doing a marathon with running, swimming, and canoe stuff, all that crap. And not very many people can outswim me, but I just didn't like the actual swimming. But I just happened to be good at it. I don't know why.
Even though you didn't like it.
Right. And well, I grew up, in northern Michigan, and we went swimming. We didn't have any swim pools or anything. It's just like, go take a dip in the river, and if you let the current get you, you're screwed. You're just, bye.
Oh, yeah.
We got 2 kids now instead of 3.
One of my great uncles was an Olympic hopeful in swimming, living in the Upper Peninsula, Michigan. So to stay in training in the winter, he would cut a hole in the ice and go swimming under the ice.
Now that's hardcore.
Mhm.
My brother was
Yeah, that's
one of the
hardcore
first-
mode.
Yep, it is.
a silver and bronze medalist in state competition in his senior year. He was one of those people that could jump in a pool and swim 75 yards on one breath underwater.
Wow.
How can you
It makes me tired just thinking.
Yeah, okay, 50 yards, I can dig that. Then he goes and does another 25, and it's like, I would never, ever even close to that guy.
Yeah, it's a very cardio like involved sport or even activity in general.
I actually know quite a few Olympic athletes, and it takes unreal dedication.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, the people that
Mhm.
again, I know quite a few people that are Olympic athletes. They were groomed since children. I know at least 4 or 5 people that are from the swim club,
Yeah.
from the neighborhood, the next neighborhood over. They've been swimming since they were, as long as they can remember. I consider it grooming, but they have a cabinet full of Olympic medals, so I'm no one to judge, But I know someone that was on the USA women's soccer team, and I can't say she was groomed, but she was one of the most amazing specimens of a human being I've ever known in my life. She was literally the exact same size as I was. She could bench press more than I could.
Well, that is the thing. If you're going to compete like at national or Olympic levels, it pretty much has to be something that you have trained for decades.
Exactly.
And still be young enough to be in your prime.
Exactly.
All right, guys, I'm gonna head out. Towards the one here.
Thanks for stopping in.
I'm gonna keep sending you links.
See you later, Junie.
Thanks for the invitation.
Later.
Oh, anytime.
Junie, you said you sent me something?
What's that?
You said earlier you sent me something and then somebody cut you off?
Oh yeah, I sent you something. I know it was just something out of like.
Oh, okay.
That I just wanted to do. So.
All right.
Hope you like it.
Be sure to get it and let you know.
Yep.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Night, Junie. Okay.
Another thing another thing that's important to remember is, of course, that it is about averages. That, like, on average, men are taller than women. On average, men are stronger than women. On average, this and that. Like, yeah, our bodies are complicated things. So, like, yeah, you can have a cis man that couldn't that is weaker than most women, for example.
Yeah,
would
it's
like
nebulous.
I would like to try to sum up my my feelings about women and trans women and stuff in sports. If you first of all, you have to talk about it all in terms of the level of competition. You know what they're doing in you know the 10 to 15-year-olds and the 15 to 20-year-olds. What they're doing for their competition is one thing. What the college kids are doing is a different thing. What the professionals are doing is a different thing. So you can't make rules for the whole group. You just can't. Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's real quickly as far as professionals
Right.
go. If a woman feels that she can compete equally with men, as you know, for whatever size and weight and strength she is, she should be allowed to try out and do it. There are women who are prime kickers and quarterbacks and stuff in high school football. Well, they should have an opportunity to carry on with that. Maybe they can make it as a pro. In high school, I would say it's a similar situation that boys have gotten big to their approaching adult levels, and their strength has gotten to that, and unless a woman has taken the time to work out and work towards that for her entire life, she's not going to have the kind of strength and stature to be accomplished, and she could hurt badly. But she should get the right to try out. Okay. Now, as far as the trans kids, we all agree, I think, those of us who are TERFs, that a prepubescent child, when given the hormones of their transgender, grow up to be that gender physically. It's observable, undeniable. It's obvious.
Yeah, I personally don't know the science of that, but yeah, I would imagine so.
But when you're talking about
Makes sense.
high school kids, again, if somebody has had puberty in their male gender, is the argument always. Yeah, that person is going to be stronger than the girls, and they need to be limited by how many years they've been on hormone therapy, and if they can't make that limitation based on the shortness of the high school career and the envelope of how long it takes to peel back the strength of the male puberty, well, sorry.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, life is tough. It's not fair. And
Yeah.
so just the way it goes.
I feel like a lot of like transphobe things that we think like this. For example, we just want to say, okay, trans women are women, and therefore they should do without any sort of checking for hormone levels and that. We should just put them in that no. I will say that they think that we think that just because trans women are women, that means that we think they are exactly the same as cis women. Like, we don't think that. We understand that there's a difference between cis woman's body and a trans woman's body. So, like, yeah, we would make in different situations for people who are of a different, when they started the transition and all of that.
Hi, Jen.
To finish up
Jen's
my
beautiful corner.
Hi, Jen.
Hi.
To finish up my
Sorry,
summation.
Here, let Jenny continue.
To finish up my summation, I just got knocked off track. Oh, fuck. Everybody talks about breaking things down into weight class, and that of course sounds very logical, very sensible. It's worth a try. But there's a lot of sports that you just can't break down into weight classes. What are you going to have, a heavyweight football team, a lightweight football team?
Yeah.
No school district going to have 2, 3, 4 different football teams based on weight. It's just not affordable.
You could. We have 6-man teams here, and they play schools that have 12 people on the team, and they'll play a school that has 40 people on the team.
The thing you do have to remember with this legislation that they're trying to pass is they don't give a fuck in this legislation whether or not these people have been on puberty blockers or have already started hormones or anything. They are straight outright banning any trans kid from competing. And And aside from that,
summation of my opinion. Let me finish my summation of my opinion, and then everybody can go after their opinion. And I don't.
Sorry if I interrupted you.
I don't believe that's a practical solution for a lot of different sports. That it may be, I think it's something that we should definitely look at. Okay. But remember, girls' sports and women's sports were created so that the girls who aren't into sports as a career, as in a all-centered focus of their life, would have an activity to participate in to benefit from the things that sports have that aren't about winning and that aren't about the physicality, but they're about the camaraderie, the team.
Okay, so if that's your main reason for why there are women's sports, Jenny, then all trans girls should be able to compete holus bolus because
exactly. Okay, that's exactly correct. That was the point I was going to try to come to.
Okay,
that this is the purpose for women's sports, and in that to look at the trans girls and say, well, you can't let them compete because they're going to win. They're going to win. It's not all about winning. It's about a whole bunch of other stuff that sports offers that has nothing to do with the actual win or loss. And our culture is so obsessed with winning and losing that we pollute everything with it.
Some of the greatest times I ever had.
Yeah, I happen to like the uniforms.
When I played high school football, the one thing I learned was that it wasn't about race. It was who could run the fastest through the grocery store when we did beer run.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think what Jenny was saying is a very good point, especially if we're talking about middle school and high school sports, because at that it's not supposed to be about who's winning or losing. The reason it's part of the school system is the kids are supposed to be learning something.
Can I bring this back to why this is so much a problem in the UK and the US? That there are two entirely different reasons why this argument for trans people in sports are different in the UK as they are into the US. In the UK, the problem is the same problem there is with everything else for trans people in the UK. Turf Island. You can point exactly to Turf Island and go, it's the fucking turfs and it's pure and unadulterated bigotry. In America, it's bigotry underlines it, but part of the argument comes from the idea of sports scholarships. And as soon as you bring money into it, people give a fuck. And that's part of your problem. And I don't think there should be any such thing as a sports scholarship. I think that's ridiculous.
I'm biased because my nephew goes to Cal for free because he plays football.
Yeah, but I mean, education should not be as stupidly as expensive as it is in the US.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's the real problem. Is that
and if you fix that problem,
get college,
then no one will give a
income.
fuck. Yeah, if you fix that financial aspect of it, no one would give a fuck whether the trans girls were competing or not, because they wouldn't go, because you look at you follow the argument to its logical conclusion in the US, and it comes down to, but they might be taking away the scholarships from my cis girls.
And yeah, I've heard people on Twitter saying that.
Not that should be an argument, because they're both girls, so fuck off. But that is where the underlying hatred comes from. And the thing, and that's a different type of bigotry to the bigotry that's in the US, where they just downright hate trans kids.
Okay, I need to step away for a moment, so you all have to behave.
Damn it!
That's not gonna happen. We can't behave.
Can I hear Jenny's response to what I said?
And I think I agree with it. But another facet to the American situation, beyond the scholarships, is the fact that this is all driven by the religious right and a Republican Party that needed a new enemy, and to score political points and to use as a diversion as they try to screw us on other legislation. That is a major factor in why these things are being pushed all at once. This is not a mistake. This is not a coincidence that they're all in so many different states. This is an intentional thing to make it happen, and to use that
But the reason why you're getting the headway in this in states that aren't
get ready for
Sorry,
the
Jen.
2022 elections.
Yeah, the reason why the Republicans and that are getting the headway in this, even in states that aren't considered Bible Belt, is the finance side of it. Because people are looking at, oh, that's just not fair. Which is a different type of bias to the one that's happening in the UK, where you don't have the sports scholarships, but you've got the underlying immense bigotry. There's more bigotry coming out of the US towards UK towards trans people than there even with Heritage Foundation and all those right-wing religious mobs. There is more freedom in the US than what the people in UK are.
Well, it's because, people have individual rights, so that's why they have to make these ambiguous laws and pick on children. Just like that person that kicked out of the chat earlier. I think
I didn't see you kick somebody out of the chat. I missed the fun.
Somebody has a stream on, but I think we forget that we're speaking about children. I think we forget that we're talking about children, and we are the stewards who are there to take care of kids, So I think we need to remember what we're talking about. The comment that person said was like, oh, but what about the weight distribution? We're talking about 10-year-olds. You're not talking about 10-year-olds. That is literally something I heard on Posey Parker.
Well, hold on. The part that triggered me on the whole thing, because I'm sorry, you guys were talking about sports, so my eyes kind of just glossed over. But in general, like the stuff that's been irritating me about on this side of the camp is about the whole locker room. All right, being bisexual and trans, when I need to go to the bathroom or need to do something in a locker room, that's the furthest fucking thing on my mind. Is to get in there, do my business, and get the fuck out.
Yeah. I'm uncomfortable going to the bathroom with other people in there, regardless of that person's gender.
So I know this is going to be controversial, but when I was in high school 100 years ago, we had a girl on the team, and she dressed and undressed in the locker room. No, it was 1990, but no one. I don't know. No one died. No one cared.
All right. Can I say this one is a problem in the US because you have locker rooms that kids get changed out in the fucking open.
Mm-hmm.
And showers that are public. I mean, okay, we had changing areas that were open, but when I was in high school, we had individual showers with shuttable doors. So you could technically get changed in the shower if you didn't want to change in front of the other kids, which was my option. So,
wow, really?
So you could take the privacy.
It was like you get naked and you go in there.
Well, yeah, we have giant life-ruining showers. They're just big rooms.
Exactly. Right?
Yeah. See that
they are life-ruining. Honestly,
that wasn't the situation in Australia. I mean, older ones, yeah, but from when I was a kid up, the new places that were built did not have open showers. You could go in, you could shower, you could get changed in the shower, and come back out into the open change area, and you were already changed, and nobody had to see you naked because they understood by that point, in Australia at least, that kids don't like getting changed in front of other kids.
Yeah, but like I said, there was a girl on our high school football team. We walked around like Romans. Nothing happened, and life moved on. We came in second place. That's what happened. that was about it.
I want to touch on that
because men and women can actually coexist. Generally speaking, most of them will coexist, and the assholes will get made to toe the line. Generally,
but really quick, Nikki, because I'm gonna jump in really quick. We overstate sex. We care too much because we spent more time dividing ourselves than actually seeing how much we're alike. So it pisses me off because these are all moot points to me. Honestly, like when people talk about race, I kind of look at them like you're a dinosaur. Like get over yourself. Just like this whole argument. Like it's a very archaic argument that we're having right now.
Well,
exactly.
And I just want to make a comment on what Will said about the changing rooms and the shower rooms. About it, ruining your life, and that's that's something I went through. Not just when I was in school, not just through high school, but even at the public swimming pools for many years after, because I didn't start growing chest hair until I was almost 30. I got harassed by strangers at the public swimming pool just because I didn't have chest hair. And I was in the men's locker room.
Yep, I was actually going to touch upon that. I didn't experience it personally, but I had a pretty good friend. He was nowhere near adequate down there, and I don't know what happened to him, but I never saw him when we went to high school.
I know Infiltrator removed his question, but I can still see it on StreamYard. So I am going to answer that. There is no after being trans. Trans people are born trans. They stay trans. Some will transition. Most hopefully in the future, all of them will transition, but you still can. Even
I think it's the same role.
You're still trans. Trans people are always trans. Cis people are always cis. There is no after being trans or before being trans. You're always trans. There might be a denial point where you're denying being trans, but you're still trans.
You're giving science to a troll.
Yeah. I don't care.
But sometimes, hey, trolls can be fun.
And sometimes trolls ask questions that other people would actually legitimately like the answers to. And for some people, they do actually think that, you're suddenly trans. And what's it like after you've had all the surgery and you stop being trans? Well, you don't stop being trans. You're still trans.
Yeah.
You're always trans.
The other side of that,
people are always cis.
As far as always being...
on what Will was saying.
I like women.
Let Jenny go.
I want to pick up on what Will was saying before. What you started to bring up, Will, was not so much the issue of, should they be allowed and all this kind of stuff and all the what is qualified, how should we deal with it, but we've begun to enter the area of how do we defend ourselves against these laws, this legislation, this attitude that is developing and running rampant right now. The things that you need to absolutely court in your discussions are the fact that everything that these people are saying, the TERFs, the Focus on the Family, the Family Research Council, are lies. Everything they're saying is not true. Okay?
So we know this.
Are distortions and untruths. That their entire premise is based on their personal religious beliefs, which is not proven to be reality. It is proven to be their beliefs in a magical book that they say some creature is in charge of everything. It is a religiously based argument. Now they've done a good job politically of not bringing religion into it, so it's going to be very hard to use that fact in a court defense or such as the Supreme Court with marriage, because it was so clearly religious based in their word and how they discussed everything. But they've learned that lesson and they're avoiding that. But we know where it comes from.
But this is also an ancient argument of what about the children and privileged people saying I'm scared.
Yeah, they are again. They are talking about a bunch of kids who are an extremely small percentage of the people on the planet. Okay, and their overreaching is nothing more than political bullying and trying to control the lives of other people. I mean, look what they're doing to physicians. They're telling physicians that we're going to put you in jail if you treat these people.
Yeah, it's just fucked up.
Okay, this is a control issue from a right-wing extremist group, and the public needs to understand that is what's driving these people, is their hunger for control and authoritarian politics, that they have no interest in what you think or feel or want to do. They want to control, and that's what it's all about. And that's this is America. That is not allowed.
So with that being
It's the
said,
same arguments with which they think they can stop people having abortions. Is the same arguments because they don't want people to have body autonomy.
if you want to help, go to your local LGBTQIA++ center and go and help. They need you. In America, at least, they need you.
And now I'm going to I'm going to make a response to something else Jane said earlier about the reason for women's sport. And I've said it on other streams before. Women's sports does not exist for the benefit of women. Women have taken advantage of it, and we've used it to create our own personal spaces where we can have women socializing things and stuff like that. Yes, we have. But women's sport was created for the benefit of men who didn't want to get beaten by women at their own games. It was purely fucking sexist to start off with.
I'll agree with
Yeah.
Like I said, a lot of this comes down to people of privilege. I'm not trying to say any particular group, but they're scared. And people who think they have control, they're scared and they start telling somebody else, and then they start believing lies, you know? The problem is that we stand around and say, oh, we can't do anything. We can't. Together, we really can. We honestly really can. But I don't live in a state where people are making laws against trans anything. You know, I live in a place called reality in California where people are protected.
Unfortunately, even though Minnesota is one of the more liberal states, they've managed to push one of the bills through here about trans in high school sports.
That's crazy.
Because we have enough Republicans in the state legislature that they were able to shove it through.
I was shocked even in Arizona. I lived in Arizona. There's trans men and women that live in Arizona, peacefully live their life, mind their own business. I was shocked when they were passing anti-trans bills in Arizona.
Yeah, I was.
I
was surprised the whole recount thing in Arizona. Sorry, Jen.
Sorry. No.
What's that?
I was just saying, in Australia, we have policies of inclusion at all sporting levels. You know, it's like Cricket Australia, inclusion policies. You know, it's what the directive came down from the Australian Institute of Sport was make a way to facilitate inclusion wherever possible. That was the stipulation for the Australian Institute of Sport. Our federal government complained about that, but didn't stop it because they knew they would lose.
I find it funny that, well, for instance, I can't talk too much on it anymore because I actually now work there. But the place I work is a government facility. And it primarily deals with veterans. And in fact, it pretty much only deals with veterans outside and their families. And I am actually awestruck at the fact that right now I can get every single piece of transgender care I need outside of surgeries. And I have been told by the people who work there and the people who have been trying to push this through, it's literally going to take an act of Congress for us to get that.
Yeah.
This is why I went and got this job, so I could afford the insurance, so I can go get the surgeries.
Australia is the same in our national health care. All aspects of supporting trans people is fully covered by the Australian government until it comes to surgery.
I like pie and boobies.
I don't think we'd have anybody arguing against boobies.
No, I like boobies.
I'm pro boobies.
Pro boobies.
Will pay for it on a transgender person, but they won't pay for bottom surgery.
Yeah.
Oh, there's actually some insurances in my state. They'll pay for bottom surgery. That's it.
My under my insurance, a person can transition at my job
I did not specifically ask yet about the bottom surgery, but what the clinic I'm going to has told me is that basically they will pay for everything except the hair removal.
Oh,
So
that's
the only
not bad.
thing is, I'll have to come up with the money for the, laser for the facial hair remover.
Yeah,
Yep.
you're on Minnesota Medicaid. It's an extremely generous state policy.
Yeah.
What we're trying, what as far as all that kind of insurance coverage and everything, there are three for a transgender male to female. There are three basic surgeries that are thought of as desirable for those people who desire surgery. It's the bottom surgery, of course. It's the top surgery, which would be implants in most cases. And it's the FFS, which is facial feminization surgery, which is a group of procedures that are all performed at once. All three of those are medically necessary for the transgender client. They're not cosmetic procedures. These are procedures that correct the defects in their body caused by puberty.
I would like to point out, though, if they
change to be repaired.
Wow.
When you're done, Jenny, sorry.
Go ahead. I'm done.
I was going to say, I'd like to point out that if all these bigots got off their high horses, supported puberty blockers and starting of cross-sex hormones by about the age of 14, they could get rid of all of the expense except for the genital surgery, because the new trans kids coming through wouldn't need it.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that everybody
but Jesus.
On the side is that the reason they don't want kids to have pre-puberty suppressors and then hormones is because then they won't be
puberty blockers.
They won't be able to tell then.
Let me finish. They won't be able to tell us apart from the cis population, and that is scary as fuck to them. And
despite the fact that most of them can't tell us apart anyway.
That they can always tell if a person is trans, and they almost never tell when a person is trans.
Yeah, even those who did have to go through puberty.
Katie and Arden together were actually. Yeah. Somebody wrote, "Well, you guys can talk real big. Neither of you are trans."
Yeah, it's like.
It's like, okay.
I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, in general life, most of them wouldn't be able to tell the majority of trans people.
Yeah.
They just wouldn't. They just wouldn't fucking know.
Even when they've made it a game like on the Jerry Springer show, most people can't even get half of them.
Oh God,
that is so dated. I watch a YouTuber and she goes back and watches them and reminds us that those are all from 20-something years ago.
Yeah.
We don't talk like that anymore.
I hate Jerry Springer for.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean it's the most shock-inducing type they could come up with, and even in that kind of situation, people can't get it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, you guys want, I can share a health.missouri.gov website thing where it's talking about the transgender healthcare and how crap it is here. Missouri is one of 22 states that explicitly excludes transition-related care on Medicaid. Yeah, that's why I'm with the VA, because I'm a veteran, first of all, and they're the ones that got me on HRT, not anything in the fucking state. Yay, federal, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I had tried to start like 8 years ago when I was in New York, and basically was told that they weren't willing to pay for much of anything, so I would have made more progress then, but I simply couldn't afford it.
Well, here's the big caveat for me. Without sexual reassignment surgery, transgender individuals in Missouri cannot legally change their gender on their birth certificate or license. As well as you also can't change your name without having going through bottom surgery.
That sounds like Iran. Sorry.
Welcome to the state of Misery.
They literally have the same laws as Iran,
Was that
basically.
was that a country or something that you did on the weekend?
Yeah. Missouri is just the most northern southern state.
Pretty much.
Missouri.
Kansas City, which is actually a progressive city.
Kansas City, Mo.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm on the good side of Kansas City.
Depends what you're talking about. If the other side lets you change names and everything, that's better in that respect.
Yeah, it looks like I have also lucked out in that department on the birth certificate. That I have checked into it, and my birth certificate was issued in Illinois. And apparently in Illinois, yeah, there's a shit ton of paperwork, but as long as I can get a therapist to sign it, that's all I really need in the end.
My birth certificate is from Washington State, which is, as far as I last checked, a transgender-friendly state.
Which state I missed up? Sorry.
Washington State.
Oh, yeah.
The entire.
I don't know where my birth certificate is since I shifted, so I can't find it.
Yeah, so
that noise?
I've got a psychologist who's willing to do the paperwork, so yeah, I can get the gender marker changed and get a certified birth certificate with the gender marker changed.
The West Coast is very friendly to the LGBTQIA plus community.
Yeah, well, California is known for that.
Ohio, which has been one of the bastions of resistance all these years, has finally given an okay for transgender people to get birth certificate changes. That's shocking. In Ohio, really? It's kidding me. Wisconsin, you can now change birth certificate and have the old one disposed of, as long as you have enough judges that will.
Well,
Jeannie, gender fluid is trans. If you're gender fluid, you're trans.
So finally, all the relationships I developed with our legal system when I worked on the expensive BMWs, all the judges and stuff, I just want to just give them a call and say, "Yo, Carlos and a couple others, would you do this for me?" And they will. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Right now, it looks like Washington has a 4 to 5 month turnaround on the name change on the birth certificate in gender.
I'm going to explain it properly to Jeannie that all trans means is that you're not cis. If you are gender fluid, you're not cis, therefore you are trans.
But some people, never mind. I won't. Let's not, stand on the gates and keep things.
Yes, exactly.
I'm trying. If someone chooses to identify as whatever they choose to, it's okay. Jen.
Well, I know it is. It seriously is a big question, for the people who find themselves somewhere in the middle. And that's what I've gotten for a very, very long time, is the people saying that, well, if you're not committed to doing the bottom surgery, you can't say you're trans.
No, that's bullshit.
And that's bullshit.
Bullshit.
There's lots of very valid reasons why people would not want bottom surgery, and the reasons why they don't want bottom surgery are entirely their own business and nobody else's, and nobody else has the right to dictate whether they're trans or not.
Oh, I may be able to force Missouri's hand on this. Oh, thank God I was born out of state.
Oh, what God? There's no God.
Well, and that's what I was saying about that. I got lucky with Illinois, making it, reasonably easy for me. Because basically, if you have a certified birth certificate with that gender marker, you can get a driver's license in any state, and they're going to have to make it correspond with the birth certificate you show them.
Oh, yeah, that's really the key to everything.
Which is why every state, every country should allow
Too
changes.
damn many pieces of paper.
Yeah. Well, like I say, for me, it's going to be a lot of paperwork involved. But in the end, I've got a psychologist who's willing to fill out the paperwork for me. And that's going to clear it. That's really the only key to it.
I was lucky that I went through all the legal stuff back before anybody knew anything about it, and nobody knew what to do, and so people just said, oh, "All right, what the fuck?"
Yeah.
Yeah, what I'm looking at right now, yeah, I can circumvent Missouri's bullshit.
How?
Because I was born out of state.
Okay, so you can get a birth certificate from a state that's a little more accommodating.
I mean, I still got to go through some hoops, but just like you, I have someone who will sign off on it. Because guess what? I've already started the process.
So what Tria is saying is 100% true. I have a cousin who was adopted from Mexico, and they've tried to deport him at least 4 or 5 times, and he's lived his entire life in America. He has a social security number. So we are nothing but a pile of paperwork in this country.
And Jenny was saying before about Ohio, and the reason Ohio is so screwed up is Ohio literally is a swing state.
Mhm.
That it has flipped back and forth between Democrat and Republican so many times.
Sorry.
Yeah, it has really made their laws such a hodgepodge of liberal and conservative laws that, any particular subject, it all depends on what administration was in office when it was passed.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
By the way,
Once
Tria,
again, I like boobies.
The cost for name change and stuff in Europe, Germany in particular, is over 1,000. It's like 1,500 to 2,000.
Yep. Okay, Randy, if you and Will, we'll tip your heads down together. We can paint nipples on the top of each, and we'll have a pair of boobies.
Careful on that.
There you
Cheshire
go.
got teams stream taken down because of that shit.
Yeah, one of the Shill's live streams I was in
Yeah,
got taken down for showing
you ain't the
nipples.
first one that called me a nipplehead.
Yeah. One of the Shill's live streams I was in got cut short for showing nipples, oblivious to the fact that it was a man without a shirt on the screen.
Oh, you know what? Boobies are awesome because they have blue feet.
It's silly.
I used that for a thumbnail in one of my streams a year or so ago.
Blue-footed type. They're
Boobies are
pink-footed type,
amazing.
too.
That's beautiful. Those are beautiful boobies. Blue boobies.
Yeah.
Did you know that the blue-footed boobies, the Society of Blue-footed Boobies has 30% lesbian?
Ooh, and there's red-footed boobies too.
And
well,
yeah,
I
there's
don't know why,
several
because,
colors.
but that's just because.
Hang on. So
You know what? I was
in
thinking
my
about
state,
transitioning too, but I do not want to be a bass player. I play fucking harmonica and that's it.
just to highlight the difference, in my state in Western Australia, if a trans person wants to change their birth certificate in Western Australia, it costs $40. That's what it costs to get your gender change recognized, and then you just pay I think it's $100 to have a new birth certificate printed. But once you've got it recognized, they will just print you a new birth certificate. You just have to pay the administration fee for the new birth certificate for about $140, $150 for a new birth certificate. The prerequisites for getting your gender recognized within the state is that you have to have undergone social and medical procedures to have transitioned to some degree. That does not require surgery. There's no prerequisite for surgery, but you must have undergone some aspect of it. So
Yeah, I think cost-wise, it's going to be about the same for mine.
Yeah.
But, it doesn't require any kind of physical altercation. It just requires the psychological evaluation.
Mine is going to run probably around $200 plus the lawyer fee, which I have to spend because I'm not living in Wisconsin anymore, and somebody's got to handle all the paperwork shit from out of Milwaukee County. So
Yeah.
Stuck to paying a lawyer. So I'm not sure what it's ultimately going to cost, but the governmental paperwork's probably going to run around $200. it shouldn't take much more than one court hearing. Then, of course, there's the time for the registrar to actually make the change on the paperwork.
We lost her. But I've already gone through a name change in Minnesota. So, I already know the procedure for that. And it's a $75 filing fee and having a hearing in front of the judge that I have to bring a witness and basically say that I'm not changing my name in order to, get out of some debt or responsibility.
So, same in California because I
Jenny's
changed
back.
my name. I changed my name as well, so same thing.
Okay, Jenny, you got cut off in the middle. What were you saying?
Jen?
Okay, maybe she's not quite connected yet.
But I got the third taken off my last name. Because it was ridiculous.
Okay, Jenny's back. What were you saying, Jenny? You got cut off.
There was, I don't know, where did I get cut off? It's going to cost me probably around $200 for the governmental paperwork to be perfected. And what else? No, what else was I thinking?
Yeah, that's the bureaucracy. There's always the filing fees and the clerical fees.
The big advantage is that I'm going to be dealing with, like I said, judges that I know personally and have for decades, and my lawyer is a friend of mine for decades.
Yeah.
So whatever I owe him, he'll say, "Pay when you can."
In a small town, that can be a huge help or an incredible hindrance.
Well, this is in Milwaukee. This is all going to be done in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
That's where I was born, not here.
Okay. Yeah, and that was the thing that I knew I couldn't do anything as long as I was in that little town up in Michigan, because the judges and so forth up there would have just kind of freaked by the whole idea. And not to mention, it would have been, the whole thing of you're destroying your family name type thing.
Oh, wow.
Even though I legally had my name changed, so it's not my birth name for the last, 15 years.
And then I can get
my
passport,
God.
and I can actually go to Canada or Europe or anywhere else I can't afford. But I'll have the paper to go. And that means a lot.
Well, Jenny, after I can get everything cleared up and after the whole COVID business is over, at some point I'm kind of committed to taking a road trip through Canada. So, maybe you could come along on that if you wanted to.
It'd be nice.
Well, one of the things on my bucket list has always been to see the Royal Tyrrell Museum in Alberta. And at this point, it's kind of been decided that if I'm going to go that far, I might as well drive up to BC to meet Neil and a bunch of people who live up in that area.
Yeah,
That's fair enough.
I actually live fairly close to there. I could drive up there.
Oh God, you're 1,000 miles away from that.
I've gone there quite a few times, actually.
Sorry,
I
I
have a
missed
passport.
everything.
I've gone to Vancouver a few times.
We're just planning a road trip to Canada, so now we have to decide if we need to charter a bus.
Oh no, I got a van. Come to my house.
So where I'm from, anytime anyone says they have a van, it makes me want to run.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I also have candy.
As long as it's not a white panel van, if I see a white panel van, I'm running.
Yeah. When I had a van, there was never any room for passengers.
Kia
Park that down by the river.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Around here, you would get your doors kicked in and the cops would.
Nope, it's just a little Kia minivan. It's great though. I can put a cot in it and sleep in it and do whatever the hell. I'm planning a trip this summer. All I got to do is make money to go do it.
I know I have to plan for things to do this summer. I'm gonna definitely take Isaiah to the Grand Canyon. I'm gonna make a
Thank
video.
you.
I'm gonna make an anti-Matt Powell video.
Is Isaiah your son? Is Isaiah your son?
What's that?
I was wondering if Isaiah is your son.
Yeah, it's my son.
Yeah. Okay. I know you have a son, but I didn't know his name. Okay.
Yeah, he occasionally pops up in the background there.
Yeah.
He's here today because we both have colds.
I just want to respond to Native Atheists that, I appreciate everybody's support immensely. I wouldn't be able to do this if I didn't feel I had a supportive community. And
I can't.
Yeah, you won't be telling everyone.
And we're here for you.
That's what I'm excited for.
yeah, well, like I said, I really couldn't do this alone.
That's what I'm excited for. Is I want to buy you a dress.
Yeah, well, and Jenny especially, since Jenny lives less than 3 hours away, I'm definitely going to have her come up here to, help me with things like picking out some outfits and makeup type things. So Jenny's my big sister. She's going to teach me how to be a girl.
Aw.
You guys all live too far away from me, so
Jen is just dying to come to America and go for a Harley ride to everyone's house.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I wonder why.
You would hate me after about 50 miles. Harley.
Oh, not necessarily Harley, but a big pickup truck. That would be fun.
And your
Yeah.
kids,
Go around it.
I have quite a few. I own a few vehicles.
and your kids for about half a day.
Yeah. Well,
I'm going to get a new passport.
for me, this has been put off for literally decades. And I am amazed that somehow I'm in the situation now that it is really being fast tracked. That I can't believe how suddenly this is going, especially with the wait times I've heard from other people. But basically, I really do have a wonderful psychologist here who basically just, picked up everything and said, well, yeah, if you started on this while you were in New York, basically, yeah, all of the stuff that would require wait times has already been done. So we'll just get you going. And, here's the phone number to the clinic in your city that handles, that specifically has a gender clinic.
Yeah.
And it's like even the gender clinic here only opened like 4 years ago. So it's a fairly new thing. But
Wait a minute. Every city doesn't have a
everything's
gender
there.
clinic?
no.
I didn't know that.
No.
You're ignorant.
No,
I'll say this.
I'm from Liberal Island.
I'll say this. I completely agree
Every
with you,
place
Purple,
isn't a city
because
either.
even me, I came out in 2019, and it's what? I started HRT beginning of this year.
Yeah, and that's what I was hearing from a lot of people was that the HRT that they had to wait at least 6 months to a year, and it's like,
Well, mine was literally within 3 months of being at the VA. As soon as I was able to get to the proper VA that would have been able to actually handle all this shit,
Yep.
boom, 3 months.
You're all so backwards.
well, and,
2.5 months.
I was expecting I was going to have to drive into Minneapolis, which is like an hour and a half drive each way for this. So finding out that there was a gender clinic right here, that's literally like 5 miles from my home was amazing.
And when
So yeah, and that's, this was it. That basically the psychologist cleared it, set me up with the doctors. I had a couple of appointments, and in less than a month, I've got the box in my hand with the estrogen patches.
I get shot.
I don't understand why it has to be so hard. I mean, I transitioned 20 years ago, and it was 2.5 months from me first going to my doctor to discuss my needs, but I was prepared, to when I had hormones. So it was 2.5 months, and that was it. And the only reason I waited that long, I granted I knew my doctor personally, not in a biblical sense, but we were friends, so that helped a lot. But I just picked the referral people I wanted to go to for the psych and for endocrinologists. I went up and saw them and said, "This is what's happening. It's going down this way." The endocrinologist gave me a script for hormone blockers, despite the fact my blood test showed he probably didn't need to, but he goes, "Yeah, no problems." And then when I came back, the doctor goes, "Oh yeah, they've approved you. I'm just going to put you on hormones straight away. We're not going to wait around."
You live in a country though where people care. No one cares in America.
I mean, I've got a story that things. I was in the local council offices down here, paying the registration for the dog, because dogs have to be registered here. So I was there, and the people behind the counter were talking about the procedures they had in place, because they were training a new person to deal with if a transgender person came in and had to change their name on any paperwork. This is a 5,000. There's only 5,000 people in this town. I would be lucky to walk up and meet another trans person in this town. I'm sure they're here, but there won't be many of us.
I am so sorry, because I actually just found out today that yesterday that one of my coworkers is transgender.
Yeah. So, I mean, I will guarantee there'll be other trans people in this town, but I'm probably not going to notice or walk in, figure it out straight off. It's probably going to be a long while till I figure that out. But the fact that they were training people with these procedures for anyone who is transgender, teaching this person how to deal with if they had non-standard pronouns and what the right... I'm like, that's positive, and that's how it should be. When you're dealing with a small town where they might only have to deal with this 3 or 4 times in their entire fucking career.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
And yet they're training people for it.
There is a woman living upstairs that I believe is transgender, but I've only passed her in the corridors. I haven't really talked to her directly. So I'm hoping that means that the building manager and that has dealt with this before, and I'm not going to run into issues with things like that. Because it's realizing all the things involved. I've got to get another name put on the mailbox, but let them know that I need this other name on the mailbox, but that doesn't mean there's a second person living in this apartment. So I have to have a discussion with the building manager about that and things of that nature.
It's hard to do, because if you were getting married and changing your surname for getting married, it's a piece of fucking cake. But the other stuff, it's not so much the governmental stuff. I understand that's difficult depending on what state you live in the US. But in Australia, that stuff's fairly easy now. In almost every single state, the rules have changed. The other stuff, it's where you have to go in and deal with places that haven't had training, where you have to deal with an individual who's got no fucking clue what you're talking about, or is just a bigoted piece of shit. And that's what's hard.
And we have 2 guys that are the building's self-appointed doormen, who basically just sit out there on a bench by the front door all the time. And I've overheard them talking enough to know that, they're both pretty far right on the Christian scale. So I don't know how they're going to react to this. And it's they're just neighbors. They have no official position, so it shouldn't matter. But they can make things uncomfortable in me just walking from my car to my apartment.
Two words. Bear mace. Get the big can with a handle. You mace him one time and you say, next time I'm coming back with a bat.
Again, and it's if the building manager is, not a problem with it, then I shouldn't have a problem with them. If the building manager takes the, religious opinions of that, this is wrong, then they're kind of going to be enforcing something that's technically illegal, but how much can I do about it?
Well, you have governmental civil rights written down in Minnesota that a lot of places don't have. I would go equipped with pamphlets, at least in my hand, to hand people so they understand.
And that's one of the things that on the bulletin board right outside of the building manager's office, is the non-discrimination thing. So it's I can just kind of thump that on the bulletin board that it says on there that you can't discriminate based on sexual preference or gender identification.
I constantly have to
That's what she said.
make people adhere to the Disabilities Act of 1970, I forget, and adhere to just the laws we have about autistic children here now. So you have to basically make people be like, no, this is law. Like, you can't do this. You can't treat me like this. No, I have to do it all the time for my kid. You have to be your own advocate.
Yep,
You know?
I completely agree with that because, granted, like I was telling you about the whole 3 months into getting into this VA system up here, I have been dead named, misgendered so many times, and I've spoken out. It's like, no, that's not how this works.
Mm-hmm.
And what they're supposed to be doing, instead of by calling me by my full legal name, they're supposed to be saying last name, veteran, or some facsimile. I can't even talk. I am so goddamn tired right now. Thank you, Jen. I know. I'm literally. I got off work. What was it? A long time ago. And yeah,
Okay.
I did a lot of walking today. But that's one thing I was pushing because I was in a transgender support group for a few months of that, right as I was getting on HRT or just before I got on HRT. And when I came down to that, and I even said, the endocrinologist, nurse, the first one I saw, dead named the living shit out of me.
Oh, fuck off with that.
Now, I will say this, and I even said this, I made this little caveat to it. It's like, I don't know if it was a cultural thing because she was not a native born from the United States. She was from East Africa.
Yeah.
And it may be a culture thing, but it was still, she needs the training because the person who was doing the LGBTQ support group just got, I think toward the end of the group, she was made patient advocate for the entire hospital, and as on top of that, LGBTQ coordinator. So she's like, yeah, tell me this shit so I know what to do and how to fix it. And I was like, the simplest thing. Reteach some of those people in Indo because they're the ones having to deal with it. And there's quite a few transgender veterans there at the fucking VA. Quite a few. Holy shit, more than I thought there was. Especially from Missouri and Kansas. Especially Kansas. And get the damn providers, regardless where they're at, to use last name only. Unless they know
the correct pronouns.
Well, the problem with that is the way the VA's charts are structured.
They can still have a preferred pronoun on that.
They do now, but it took them a while. And plus, when they first print it off, when they're trying to rush the person back there, they don't see it. It's instead of it being on the top line, it's like 3 or 4 lines below.
All right, so they need to redo the forms to make them
they're getting there. It's just it's taken.
That's a bureaucracy administration issue more so than a training issue at that point. Because I mean, at that point, even though the person who's doing it should be trained to know better, if the forms were written the right way in the first place, that wouldn't happen.
Oh, I know.
Yep. Minnesota Jenny's trying to say something.
Nikki, what you need to do is to get that nurse and that director person to understand that continual misgendering of someone is legally considered sexual harassment.
She knows that, and that's why the VA is going through a massive push to acknowledge that stuff.
And that goes for you too. When you start going to this pharmacy, chances are one of the pharmacy assistants, when they deliver you your prescription, is going to misgender you. let them know, or they're going to call out your name and they're going to say okay, well, we got here this blah, blah, blah drug, and announce to the world what you're taking. Let them know quietly that they need to keep their voice down, because revealing that to all these other customers standing here is sexual harassment.
Now, I've never run into that, because they've always been very discreet about, not saying what the drugs were for anything loud enough for anyone to hear.
They don't say what it's for. All they do is say your name and say the drug, and people could put 2 and 2 together. And that's against HIPAA. They have no right to tell all those people behind you what you're taking.
But that's what I mean. That even picking up my psych drugs, they have never said the name of the drug loud enough for the person behind me to hear what it was.
To be completely fair, I've never had a problem with picking up drugs, because I've taken my...
Yep.
But I don't mean even in that. I mean, I will take my brother's scripts in sometimes and collect his drugs. And when they call that out, they call out his name, and I have to go up and pick those up. But I don't give a shit, because it's just a name.
No,
they call out the name on the script. It could be anybody picking it up.
I know what Jenny's saying, and that could be a problem, basically just depending on the individual person working there and their attitudes about it.
Jenny.
Yep. I was seeing. Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, I was seeing what Jenny was showing there, and other than it being a different color box because it's a different name brand, it looks like I've got the same thing she does.
I got the shots because I was like, no, I want the shots. Native Atheist, you're welcome, by the way.
They asked me about that, that I had the option for either the shots or the patch. And basically they just said that if I haven't dealt with it before, that the patch would probably be easier, because I only have to change it twice a week instead of doing it every day.
And no, I don't have the Rona. I just needed to sneeze.
Shut up! I only do the shot once a week.
Look like you had a violent.
Mine's once every 2 weeks.
Yep.
That's why I'm muted.
But the other thing, as far as the names and pronouns, it was something that I didn't even realize myself that it mattered that much. But the first time I went to the clinic, and they asked me for my name and that, filling out the forms for a new patient. And they asked me, is there another name you'd rather be called by? And it's like, I didn't even realize until that moment that mattered to me. But that was such a charge that was something that they were actually, willing to ask about, that they were going to respect that.
I had to go to get a drug test at just some little itty bitty clinic somewhere for one of the other jobs I attempted to do, and realized, I can't do factory work anymore.
But we're stronger than cis women, don't you know?
Hey, Perp,
I'm sorry, I have to laugh at
the land of gender euphoria.
Yeah.
No, seriously. The first time coming out of that clinic, after the doctor telling me that, that if everything checked out, I could be getting the hormones within a month. I was so breathless coming out of there that, when I got to my car, I had to sit there in the car for 10 minutes just to start breathing again before I could drive home.
That's awesome.
Gender euphoria is a thing.
Sure the fuck
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just, this has all been pushed down mentally for so long that I didn't realize the kind of effects this would have.
Yeah. And you get it forever. I still get moments of gender euphoria with that, just making me have to smile and giggle and just go, yeah, look what I did. Fuck you all.
I get it every single time.
The first time I'd ever met you, Perps, I just assumed that you were a woman on stream and everything.
Well, and there were definitely a number of people in the online community that did, since I was just using the avatar.
I used to get misgendered all the time when it was just God the Souling and no one knew who I was.
Yeah,
everyone assumed I was a woman.
And from the back, I would get it in the stores a lot.
I get misspecied.
I assume that even
But
if
they think you're human instead of reptilian.
Okay, but let's be real. Like even today, I
I
got
don't know.
misgendered. So people at the office, they'll call for my pops, and I'll say he's passed, and they'll say, "Oh, ma'am, then can you help me?" And it happens more than once.
Okay, Jenny was saying something.
No, I wasn't saying nothing.
Okay.
I hang up on people. If you misgender me, I'm sensitive. I hang up on people real quick.
Well, and you know,
Unless it's stool calling you Madam
I've always
Speaker.
I've always gotten a lot from the back, you know, just with the long hair and, you know, I guess my general shape from the back. And my fiance had even said that when I was more relaxed, I carried myself more like a woman. So I've often had people coming up in the store saying, "Can I help you, ma'am?" when they approach me from behind.
Well, I'm actually starting to get that now. The hormones are starting to affect the fat distribution finally, and I'm starting to get the more feminine shape.
Yeah. Well, the absolute jackpot would be if the extra bit I've got in my belly would just go north, but we'll just see what happens.
I feel you there.
Don't wish
Hey,
for too
Perp,
big
if
a
I could
tits.
share some of mine with you, I would. Like, I would
Yeah.
love to get a fucking breast reduction.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Actually,
as Kitty and I always say to people, don't wish for too big a tits.
no. One of my cousins actually had to have a breast reduction because it was damaging her back.
Mine as well.
Like,
I have
my
back
neck and
problems.
shoulders are always fucking killing me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a size F. I'm a 34F.
Yeah. So,
So,
you know,
Damn.
I'm not even hoping for the double Ds. You know, if I can get a B or a C cup would be great. Just if there's a little bit of cleavage there, so people would just assume female when they first see me.
Man,
I
some
want
major.
to be like I think a solid D.
Hey.
A D cup where I could still get cute
Oh.
bras, you know.
Yeah, D. I wouldn't mind being the D rather than the double D. That'll be
Right
a lot
now,
less
yeah.
strain on my
Before
back.
Randy does,
That'd be
I'm gonna
going
say
down.
it before Randy does. I like boobies.
It wouldn't be too
You
fast
can
to
like
get
them all you
down.
like. You
Yeah.
don't need to be enormous.
Give Randy a chance if he had something more
Sorry,
to
Randy.
say. Okay, I guess we'll cover it.
If y'all don't want your boobies, you can mail them to me.
Don't tempt me. I have a pair of fake ones.
Randy, when are you going to transition?
What? No, I don't want to be a bass player.
No.
Yeah.
He can get them glued to his head.
Well, my fiance,
Yeah,
when she
do the
actually
tassel
got
thing.
properly fitted for a bra, found out she was a J cup.
Oof.
Oh.
So yeah, there can be too much. I can understand how women would have problems when they're too big.
Yeah.
It's like I said. The furthest I want to go, C definitely. D is about my upper limit where I want them.
Hmm.
And that's
yeah.
based on my frame
Yeah.
that I have.
A
So.
C or a D would be ideal. Like, I just feel like I would feel the loss more if I went all the way down to a C cup after, this. So I figured aiming for a D cup, would be good because it's a 2 cup size reduction. So it should help substantially. But I, would not feel like I lost too much,
Never in my life have I thought I'd ever be in the middle of this kind of conversation.
Yeah.
I
Actually enjoy, Randy.
Randy, you prepare when you've got our tits out so we can compare them.
No, that wouldn't be on YouTube though.
You want to bet? I mean, you can see mine.
There's
On
nothing
YouTube?
against showing cleavage on YouTube.
Yeah.
You just can't show
there's nothing.
nipples.
See?
I want average boobs.
Jen, I don't know if you're around yet, but I've decided that I'm going to have implants. I've waited long enough, and I'm going to try to go for the CD type neighborhood. Nothing bigger than that.
Are you going to get implants, Jenny, or are you going to?
Yeah.
be really careful what sort of implants you get.
Well, that's one of the
I
things older. Is that whatever I get, they should outlast me. That I'll be dead long.
Not
before
necessarily.
it matters.
Some of the saline filled ones only have a shelf life of about 10 to 15 years, so they may not.
Microraptor was saying something.
I'll be dead.
Yeah, as I said before, but there's some has joined the stream. Since I've been on HRT for almost a year, 11 months. So I'm kind of I think I can have a cup, like they're very small, but I'm like sort of grow. I want them to grow more, but yeah, I don't know what to expect. It's such a it's such a process that you don't know really what you can expect.
I have been streaming that every time I hit it. I inject myself with estrogen. It's like, all right, grow now, damn it.
Well, Jenny's injected herself on my streams a number of times.
No, I've never actually let anybody see it.
No, we never actually saw the needle, but we could tell what you were doing.
No.
I think there's one time you did on stream.
I would be afraid if I made it too blatant that you'd get bounced or in trouble.
Microraptor was still talking there.
Yeah. Yeah, and the doctor has told me that after 2 years they start considering breast implant, and if it takes so long that they say they want to consider it, I'll consider that, but I still have a bit to wait. So yeah, after 2 years there should have been something, but according to the doctor, it wasn't anything to worry about yet.
Yeah, well, for me, my biggest dysphoria is the facial hair. If I can get rid of that, almost everything else, I think, can be dealt with without surgery.
I'm spending a small fortune on concealer.
Yeah. Yeah, I see myself doing that in the next year. And there are other things I would like. I mean, of course, I have an image of what would be ideal, but I'm not expecting all of it to happen. It's like men seem to like my butt. I don't have any problem there, but it wouldn't be bad if a little more went into the hips. They're kind of hollow.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Perp, I'm not going to be able to help you at all with concealer because when I had to worry about that, it was 4 decades ago. And
I can kind of help with that and point out some YouTube videos.
All the substances and stuff have changed since then, so
yeah.
Like I said, I can kind of help, and then also with some YouTube videos to help with that.
If you can recommend some channels that are good for the makeup, that would be useful.
All right, I'll take a look at them later.
Nikki Tutorials is a trans woman, and she actually did a video on facial feminization with makeup.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds real good.
Nikki's awesome, actually.
She is lovely. I didn't realize
Nikki is
she was
also very open to joining other people on stream, so it'd actually be really cool to invite her on time.
Can one of you send me a link to her channel?
I don't have that. I think I know who you guys are talking about, but
well, just to make sure I get the right one, because too often on YouTube, if I just go searching for a name, there wind up being a lot of channels with similar names.
No, it's Nikki Nikki Tutorials.
Nikki is great.
But no, she came out as trans recently.
There you go, Peps. It's in the chat.
Yeah,
and she did a facial feminization makeup video.
Yeah, no, she was exact proof that Tess can't always tell, because she had a YouTube channel for about 4 years before she came out, and no one knew she was trans
at all.
Okay, thanks, Jen. I've got it now. Yep.
I had no clue. I didn't even realize that she was Dutch and not American, because her English is so fucking perfect. She speaks fluently and without an accent.
She was outed, by the way. She didn't come out voluntarily. She was
Well,
outed.
Oh.
Well, she was
was-
threatened.
She was threatened, and so she owned
She was
it.
threatened. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she got
Okay, so-
fuck it. I'm gonna own it.
She took her power back, and she
Absolutely.
said she feels so much better. And in a weird way, like she's kind of glad that
That was
you know, it
exactly a year ago too.
Yeah.
I
That's not
had
COVID.
I had a friend that got deported, and he was from Chihuahua, Mexico, and no one knew because he spoke the King's English. No one,
Well, and Kitty was saying about her being Dutch, and actually, I've run into a couple of Dutch people online, and for some reason, they seem to be particularly good at mastering English as opposed to, people from other European countries.
I had a friend
she'll
from.
have. Oh, sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I had a friend from Hamburg, Germany, and his English was immaculate. He was taught English from a very young age. So he came to America for the first time and was able to interact with Americans. The average American could not go to a foreign country and interact with the inhabitants.
Well,
No.
and that's one of the big things about the Europeans is that generally they start teaching the kids a second language when they're like less than 10 years old, often when they're less than 5 years old, when they'll pick it up a lot easier. Whereas in the US, most kids are never exposed to a foreign language, until they're almost a teenager. And then it's a lot harder to internalize it.
True.
But with Nikki, she doesn't have an accent, is what I'm saying. Like, even when she's brought her family members into the videos, they have, a Dutch accent. You can tell that they're not native English speakers. She sounds like a native English speaker, is what I'm saying.
No, yeah, I know what you mean. And I'm saying that I've encountered like 3 other Dutch people that I would say the same thing. That if you didn't know it, you would have thought they were from the UK.
Mm-hmm.
At least in Sweden, we almost have 2 languages because of how much of American and British culture we get. We like when there's a TV show from an English-speaking country, we have subtitles instead of dubbing it, and we sometimes have ads in English, and Sweden is basically has two languages, so that's why we are relatively good at English, at least. If you plan on coming here, that would be it will be relatively easy to get around. Well, people know the language.
Your English is amazing because I can understand you. I know people that are
Thank
born
you.
here that I can't understand them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is strange because there are a lot of foreign people that I find a lot easier to understand than the dialects from some parts of the U.S., especially the deep South.
So,
You mean the Boomhauser fucking?
Boomhauers are real.
Okay,
Boomhauers are real.
I knew I had been watching King of the Hill too long when I started to understand Boomhauer.
So I
Is
talk
that a
about this all the
character
time. Oh, sorry, Mike Rappler. Go ahead.
Is Boomhauer a character in King of Hill?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and the way he speaks, most people just take it as just being a mumbling nonsense. But if you've listened to it long enough, yeah, he is saying actual words.
Like with Kenny in South Park, he's actually saying actual words, but it's just mumbled behind the jacket.
Is Kenny actually saying something?
So
Yeah,
I've been told. I haven't quite figured him out yet.
I've heard that too.
I haven't watched that show in so long.
What I've heard about Kenny is that he is actually talking, but he's got a sock stuffed in his mouth while he's talking. Because it's supposed to be the thing of him having the hood pulled so tight that covers his mouth.
To be fair, when I was younger, my dad had like a real parka that had like the fake fur in it, and with that thing fully zipped up, you couldn't hear a word I was saying. and the parka was like my size.
It is 3 in the
Um,
morning.
mm,
I should get to bed. So,
was great.
I've just been plugging along over here, slowly, getting to it. I wanted to get all the pieces cut out before I went to bed, and I succeeded. I was hoping to get the interfacing on the black pieces before bed, but that'll take me a while because I still have to cut them out. So I'm just gonna save that for in the morning.
Yeah,
But thank you for having me.
I'd actually started
Yeah.
thinking about half
Love
an
you,
hour ago
Kitty.
that I shouldn't let this go too much longer. So,
hi, Kitty.
Kitty, you have anything you want to show off or plug before you go?
Oh, just Jen, Will, and I with the What the Fuck or Sewing Circle, depending
It'll
on
be a sewing
Thursday
circle
night.
this week because I'm away.
All right.
Okay, so
And
the Sewing Circle
Microraptor
on
had been
Thursday.
asking what you were making. Did you want to show off some of your crafts?
Oh yeah, I can do that. I am
Okay, then I'll
making tote bag.
enlarge you here.
Oh, nice.
Basically, this is the back and the
That's
front.
awesome.
It's got a zippered pocket
Yeah.
here. It's got 2
Really awesome.
elasticated pockets, one on each side, and then it's got a zippered panel here to basically keep your stuff from falling out.
Oh, I didn't catch that
Nice.
inside panel. I thought that top was just open.
Yeah, no, it's that, but
Yeah,
I
that one
left
is
a
awesome.
gap. But I left a gap on either side, so like if you have an umbrella, or if you want to tuck something in there, or take something out without having to open it, and so yeah.
Yep.
That's
A
perfect
very well
for.
thought out
this.
design.
That's
I made
perfect
2
for
like
a
this,
40.
and then there are 2 with a floral pattern that I made, one for my mother and one for my son's therapist.
Yeah,
And
I love
then-
that solar system print.
Yeah. And then what I was cutting out were the panels for my sister, where they're basically little birds and sunflowers. Like my sister loves sunflowers.
Yeah,
So-
when Sloth Girl was rewatching the video with you making those, she was going, I've got enough eggs, I've got enough eggs, I've got enough eggs. I don't need to order another one.
If you want, Perp, I can send you, since I'm making this sunflower one, I can send you that bag right there, like this one right here that you're liking. I can send this to you.
No,
if you
that's
want.
fine. Actually, I have a couple of book bags from the public library.
Okay. I was gonna say, 'cause I can
which
always
I
make
like
another
because it's something that I very much support. Needs more support.
Oh, absolutely.
People don't put much value in the public libraries anymore, and I think they are very important for the
Absolutely. They
community.
are incredibly important to a community. No, you
Yeah.
said you liked it, and I figured I'd offer.
Yep.
'Cause
No,
I've got more of that
I
fabric.
was just saying, yeah, that Sloth Girl saw that, and she really kind of wanted one, but she realized it's not something she needs.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you're gonna get punched. Like Sloth Girl might punch you though, because like it's like she was gonna send you that bag. You could have given it to me.
Yeah, I think she's good, but yeah,
It's fine.
and I will mention that if I'm not around as much for the next month or so, we're trying to get things set up in her apartment because Sloth Girl is going to have surgery, so it's going to be an extended recovery. So I'm going to have to spend a lot more time because usually she does most of the cooking and such, and she won't be able to do that now. So I'm just not going to have as much time to be on the computer.
Yeah, well, I mean, I hope that, I hope that the surgery goes smoothly and she has a quick recovery.
And I can empathize because I actually found this community by accident after I had my my most recent hernia surgery 3 years ago, which basically the first 2 weeks I literally could not stand up, so I was crawling on all fours to the bathroom, and it was about 6 weeks before I could get out of my chair.
Oof.
So yeah, that's how I wound up in this community, because I had 6 weeks that I had nothing else I could do but binge YouTube.
Well, hey, I'm glad you found it and that I eventually found you and everybody else in this community.
Yeah,
we
and
love you, Kitty.
it would have never occurred to me to look for atheist as a search. I was looking for 80s animation and ran across Bionic Dance. And you know how YouTube works, that once you start watching one provider, they start suggesting other people. So it was suggesting Paula Gia and Vice Rhino and Professor Stick. And once you
Oh, I
click
love
on those,
them.
it just snowballs from there.
Absolutely.
Godless Cranium was my introduction to atheist YouTube, and then Godless Engineer. And then from there, Professor Stick and
Professor Stick.
Apologia and Holy Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
And
You should
on
watch
and on
Sir
and on.
Stick.
Sir Stick is awesome.
Sir
I
Stick
Professor
is
Stick?
awesome.
Oh,
no,
Sir Stick.
Sir Stick. He is
Sir Stick, yes.
hilarious.
I think
Yeah.
I think I'm subscribed to them.
Yeah, Sir Sick and Radical.
Oh, and Cirrus is another one that I've
No,
watched.
Cirrus.
Yeah, I
I
watched
love
Cirrus.
Cirrus.
Yep. I actually saw, I was around when Cirrus, I think I was in his first 100 subscribers.
Yeah,
wow.
and Cirrus has been on Perp streams quite a few times.
Yeah.
Even recently.
Yeah, he's come in
Like
a few
in the last
times.
3 months.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Cirrus,
I was
if
there.
Cirrus isn't busy, Cirrus will hop in, and Cirrus
Yeah.
always has a good chat.
He's very busy, so I know he doesn't have a lot of time, but we are friends. We have chatted privately a few times. He did teach me how to use the filters in Audacity for doing my edited videos.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, he's a nice guy, Cirrus.
But yeah, no,
He is a great guy, and he really, despite how busy he is, he will try to help people out as much as he can.
Mm-hmm.
and I have a lot of respect for that. Like same thing like with Aaron. Like I feel like he'll go on just about any atheist channel just to
Yep.
try to help boost up smaller creators in the community, because he does have a lot of name recognition. I mean,
Yep.
and
He has come in
draws
my streams
numbers.
twice, because I met him in 2019 when I drove down for the Ark Encounter protest.
But he's awesome. Like I've chatted with
Oh,
him a few times,
yeah.
and he's
He
the kind
was
of guy
so
that you'd want to
wonderful.
grab a drink with.
He was so wonderful because, yeah, when I met him, I wanted to get a picture with him, and it's like I had like 50 subscribers at the time, so it's like he didn't know me from Adam, but he just greets everyone like you're an old friend he hasn't seen in years.
Hmm.
We need more people like that in the world.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I actually got to hang out with him on a patio party after the protest, so that was a lot of fun.
I'll bet.
I'm still waiting to hang out with some people from my little corner of the community.
Yeah,
All right.
well, and that's one of the things I was wondering this year is that if we're all vaccinated, are they going to do the Ark Encounter protest? And will it be safe to drive to Kentucky where there's a hell of a lot of people who aren't getting vaccinated?
Well, right
With
now,
the new strains, I don't think it's a good idea, but that's just me.
well,
Yeah, well, I'm thinking at this point they probably aren't going to be doing it this year. They'll do it like they did last year with just an online thing.
from what I understand, the CDC says outside of certain things, anyone who's been fully vaccinated and it's fully kicked in, you technically do not have to wear a mask anymore.
Yeah, that is the statement the CDC made, but
Except
I'm
in high density areas.
Yep. They're with the caveats, yeah.
I'm with Kitty that I'm concerned with, how many new strains and how fast it's mutating. that what are the chances of
Yeah.
encountering a strain that the vaccine doesn't protect against?
That is why I still wear my mask. Outside of the fact I work in a hospital now,
Yeah.
but
Well, and I'm going to continue to wear a mask if for no other reason than when I'm going into the stores, it at least lets the employees know I'm not going to give them a hard time, because it's incredibly bullshit that enforcing this has been put on people working for minimum wage who had a hard enough job to begin with.
Yeah.
I want to wear my mask because I don't want to be confused as a Republican.
Yep.
Like,
And even if we develop like something where we if we feel sick we wear a mask, then we are going to reduce the spread of some diseases, like the common cold, for example, something like that. It will help it. This pandemic, in protecting yourself against COVID, also protects against other diseases that spread in similar ways.
Yeah. And just wearing a mask reduces the chance that even if I'm not having symptoms, if I could be carrying some kind of mutant strain, at least with a mask, I'm not spreading it to other people as easily.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point. It's about protecting people. And I hope that, going forward, at least those that believe in science will start wearing masks when flu season hits, especially if you have symptoms or if you think you're coming down with something. Just take a page out of, China and Japan's playbook, in that if you wear a mask, you limit the spread of disease. And I'm just hoping that at least the liberals and people that believe in science will do this going forward, and that will make an impact.
And Native Atheist is saying here that apparently the India strain has become very common in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's, there's probably people in every state in the country at this point that have contracted that.
I saw that today as well.
It's horrifying when you think about it. Fucking
Yeah.
triple mutant strains.
I will say this though. This has got to be something that's left for off air. But yeah, I got some stuff to say.
Okay. Okay, well, Kitty, you get some rest.
Yes. I just didn't want to leave while everyone was talking because I feel bad.
I know, but you got yourself and you got a kid to take care of, so you need to get good sleep.
I am still feeling the vaccine, so I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, later. Take care of yourself.
Bye, guys.
Okay. Good night.
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 Okay. So, yeah, should we just go around with a wrap up, and if anybody has anything to shill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Randy looks so peaceful.
Because he dozed off on us, I guess so. Yeah, I think it was Ox was asking if he had a channel and if he actually played the harmonica, so I had to throw that link out there.
Oh, I linked everybody.
Yeah, I see that you got everybody's out there, which is wonderful of you to do since we didn't have any of our usual shills here tonight.
Yeah.
I know, Robert X, where are you?
Well, and Robert X, besides shilling everything out, does send me a bit of money each month on Patreon. So is a big help to the channel. And I do not often enough credit Amiga Nuts for maintaining the shill list that I use, that every time somebody new comes into the chat, it's a list with basically everyone in our community that has their YouTube, Twitter links, and whatever else they care to make public. So, that sends me updates on that list about once a month, so I can make sure everybody's links are in the description.
That's awesome. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Okay, Microraptor, you got anything happening? Any appearances coming up this week?
Yeah, I have on The NASA Bunker 33, I'm gonna be on there again. They have a trans awareness stream in about 18 hours. It's at 3:30 in the morning from Sweden. So
Okay, what channel is that?
the NASA Bunker 33.
Oh, okay, NASA Bunker, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I was just having a little trouble hearing.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna be on it little I don't remember exactly what her just gonna check I got her it little rage she calls her channel. She has a hobby corner that she started doing 2 weeks ago, and yeah, I'm gonna talk about history. And that's gonna be a few hours after the NASA bunker stream.
Okay, yeah, I got the link for NASA Bunker 33 in the YouTube chat there. And that is one for people to watch. They actually do quite a bit of trans and GSRM stuff.
Yeah.
As well as just doing a lot of just fun streams that they do things like playing really bad movies and taking them apart.
Yeah. Yeah. Very trans friendly channel. And I linked the other person.
Okay. Very good.
Yes.
Okay, Jenny, you have anything coming up? Or just mostly following me and Will around?
Not a darn thing. Just, I'm a puppy dog. I go and pee where I'm told to, and
There is no puppy dog that pees where it's told to.
On Earth.
well, I'm a very good puppy dog.
Okay, Etty, a little rage I see has.
Yes, what I just want to finish up with is
Yeah, sorry.
for all you few people left in the chat, please take the time to get a hold of your state legislators, especially if you're in a red state. Write them a letter. It matters it's a written letter versus email or text message or anything. And explain to them that they are being hornswoggled by religious zealots, and that they need to reject this legislation. That it's not worth it. It's going to be overturned by the Supreme Court, and that they just got to stop wasting everybody's time and money in bigotry. That this is not what our country's about. Please take the time to do that.
Yeah, and what Jenny is saying about, actually a paper letter sent through the post office still does have more of an impact than sending something electronically. If nothing else, it takes their staff longer to open it up and look at it. So it does seem to have more of an impact.
Yeah, and don't be rude like me.
No, you just have to politely say that, this is going on, and if they don't try to stop it, you're not going to vote for them again.
Yeah, you fuck. All right, that's all.
Okay. Yeah, Randy's out of it. So, Nikki, how about you?
I'm posting a link to the only other channel I really appear on a regular basis. It's in the internal chat. It's AT2 Productions' channel. I'm on VTW almost every week whenever he's having it. This week might not be good because he's doing a lot of work. But want to come there and watch a bunch of veterans from all around the world, mostly the United States, mostly U.S. Navy. Sit there and shoot the shit, play occasionally some Quiplash, or talk about shit that's going on Twitter or some serious issues we're having around in the greater community. Stop by, have fun.
Okay, I copied that out to the YouTube chat. Yeah, I usually wind up watching their streams the following day because they usually wind up being at times that I'm not available for.
Too goddamn late, I know. Trust me, I know.
Yep.
I will put a caveat in there. If I'm not actively on the panel. I'm the one playing EVE Online in one of the corners.
And remember, if they're Navy, they're doing special things that the other services don't do.
Shh, we don't talk about that.
Okay, I just wanted to mention that the channel that Micro Raptor posted, at the Little Rage, only has 39 subscribers there. So maybe we can help them out and at least get them up to the 100 subscribers they need to get their custom URL.
Yeah.
Okay, Jen.
Oh, what am I up to? Yeah, I'm planning on doing Stump Jen at some point, probably this evening my time.
Okay.
Given that I don't have time tomorrow morning to do it, and I think Will has a stream he wants to do tomorrow anyway. So
is this something I'm gonna have to go to like sleep now so I can get up and actually catch it?
Yeah, it depends what time I do it, to be perfectly honest. And it also depends on what Will's planning on doing because he had a plan. So, but failing that, I'm going to be away most of the following, for half of next week, so I won't be in on much else.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were really planning on doing anything because, I know you're still moving and you had mentioned...
It's not the moving thing, it's the fact that I've got to take my brother back up to Perth this week.
That's what I was going to say. You mentioned having to do another hospital run with your brother.
Yeah, but this isn't to Albany, this is to Perth, so it's a long run and we're going to stay in a hotel up there and everything, so it's...
Well, and you need to take care of your family, and that comes first, so... If you're not up for doing anything on the internet for a week or two, we understand that.
Oh no, I'll be back in after that. I'll be back the week after, and I'm hoping the week after to get a couple of recorded videos out. So back to having some pre-recorded stuff, and also I'm hoping to consistently have 2 streams out a week, which would be nice.
just let us know on Twitter what the times will be.
I will be.
Yeah.
I will be. So follow me on Twitter.
Okay, and Will, do your spiel.
It's late, so I gotta dig.
You should do this in a Mexican accent.
I gotta resurrect this one. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Yo, hi. I'm Godless Sewing from the Godless Sewing channel. You should come and check out Godless Sewing on the Godless Sewing channel. Every Wednesday, Sam Chaos, Maddie from Science Side Up, and myself, we have a podcast on Sam Chaos's channel called Pub Religion. You should check it out. And I'm not even going to give any spoilers, but we have great episodes coming up. And every Thursday, this lovely lady named Jen from Jen's Little Corner and Kitty the Atheist from the Empress of Hell. See, it's late. Okay, hold on, rewind, hold on. Hi, I'm Godless Sewing from the Godless Sewing channel. Every Thursday, Jen from Jen's Little Corner, Kitty the Empress of Hell, and myself, we have the What the Fuck show. At least we used to. And now, on the Godless Sewing channel, we have the Sewing Circle every Thursday. And apparently we're going to be having a Star Trek Come and Fight Me stream tomorrow. So it's going to be a train wreck. I'm going to switch my positions like 5 times because I love B5 and Star Trek, Blake 7. So be there or be square. And if I forgot you, I love you. I always say that now. It's my new thing. It's my thing.
Wear a mask and don't be a dick.
Wait.
It's just spiel now. It is a spiel. I got stuff going on. I got a lot of stuff going on.
Hey, Perp.
Yeah, Jenny.
We did okay for throwing it together and
Yeah, that for only a couple hours notice, we got a good turnout here.
Yeah.
Oh, you got a very good turnout. It was brilliant. I'm sorry I couldn't couldn't get here earlier.
And we had 10, 12 people in the side chat for a lot of it.
Problem if you do lots of oral sex, the mouth is the first.
I'm proud to be your puppy dog.
Well, this was all Jenny's idea.
Aw,
So, she got this started. I just kind of went along with it.
Awesome.
it was a good idea.
Anytime I'm off, I'm happy to join on anyone's channel.
Well, tomorrow we'll be having fights over Star Trek, Stargate, Star Wars.
Okay. Well, I thank everybody for coming. I, appreciate everybody in the side chat and your comments. Always encourage people to make more comments. And I would just, like to thank everybody who helps support this channel. I mean, especially Junie for making my new avatar, which I just really cannot thank her enough for. That it is really one of the things that it gives me a little euphoric surge just watching it on the screen. That I'm at least in this capacity presenting publicly as female.
We love you, Peps. You
Yeah.
know that.
That's what's important.
And we all
And-
support you 100%.
Well, and as I said earlier, that I wouldn't be able to do this if I didn't feel, that I had a group of people supporting me. It would be too scary to do this alone.
Yep.
You're never alone.
Completely agree.
So, and
Perp, I still think that when you're ready to make your channel a little bit more feminine, that you rename it Lavender Rhymes with Tangerine.
no,
They don't start fights. Why are you trying to start fights, Jenny?
no, as I said, even, when I picked the name more than 3 years ago, I was thinking that out, and it was intentional to pick a name that did not have any gender connotation to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
So, and of course, I need to thank my subscribers on Patreon, Vonrick and Junie, Ox, Robert X, Mikey Famine, Lavender Lady, and Greg Hartwick, because I can't afford to put any money into this, but at least with their contributions, it pays for having the paid version of StreamYards so that, we can have up to 10 people in here rather than 6.
Which is much better.
Yep. So that is a big help. And, that I'm getting by. I'm doing okay, but I don't have extra money to spare. So I appreciate that this can be self-supporting. So with that, I bid you all a good night, good morning, good day, whatever it is where you are. So bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Have a great night.
Bye, lovely